Hello, good morning. Welcome and thanks for joining us on a Monday edition of our flagship program, Morning Express, live on ADBN Television. My name is Beat O'Brien. Chijoke Okafor will be joining the show shortly as we look at some of the issues in the news. But first off, let's head over to our news desk as we join Peace for ADBN News at 7. Hello, Peace. Good morning to you.
Hello, good morning, Beto. And good morning. Welcome to ADBN News at 7. We bring up latest headlines from across the world and the nation. I am Peace Ogenegbawe. The 15th meeting of the African Continental Free Trade Area Council of Ministers held from 9th to 10th of November 2024 and has concluded in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, with Nigeria reaffirming its strong support for the recommendations presented by the Committee of Senior Trade Officials. Nigeria's endorsement highlights the country's commitment to advancing digital infrastructure across all AFCFTA member states. The government emphasized critical need for robust personal data protection measures to build trust, prevent cybercrimes, and combat fraud. Honorable Minister of Trade and Investment in the Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, Dr. Jumoke Oduwole, represented Nigeria at the meeting. Now, during discussions, Nigeria recognized significant progress made with Protocol on Digital Trade, which establishes practical rules aimed at driving digital transformation across the African continent. The protocol is expected to enhance growth and use of digital platforms as well as computing facilities by African-owned small and medium-sized enterprises in participating countries. Now, the implementation of this protocol is poised to stimulate economic development across Africa by increasing trade, creating jobs, reducing poverty, and optimizing continent's industrial structure. And from the Federal Capital Territory, the Minister, Barrister Nyesom Wike, has reiterated his firm stance on demolition of shanties across Abuja, highlighting security concerns as the driving force behind this move. The decision follows his address to residents of a shanty village in Wuye area on Sunday evening. Barrister Wike expressed his primary concern regarding security risk posed by informal settlement with no identifiable occupants, stating that clearing these areas is essential to ensure the safety of lives and property in the nation's capital.
It's for the interest of everybody, the members of the public. But people who come out to say, oh, that poor people who are looking for their livings, nobody wants them to have a place. It's not correct. Security is key. We will not, because you want to find food and the other people will not be secured. It's our responsibility. It's the responsibility of government to make sure that people are protected while you are looking for whatever you want to look for in order to live your life. So be assured that we will continue with the demolition of shanties that pose security threats to FCT Abuja.
The ministers directed residents of Wuye's Shanty village to appoint 5 representatives to meet with the Federal Capital Territory Ministry on Tuesday to discuss ways the government might assist them following the demolition.
You can imagine the number of persons that are here who we cannot identify. We hear a lot of crimes are being committed outside, and then at the end of the day, they come here to say, how will you know? So government has decided we are going to go back, look at what we are going to do as far as this zone is concerned. And we have told them nobody will go to build anything, whether temporary or permanent. No, we will not allow them until government has taken a final decision on what to do on this piece of land.
This directive comes after some of the residents, accompanied by a lawyer, previously held a protest. However, community spokesman Mr. Abba Garu admitted that they were occupying the area illegally. He noted that past administrations had conducted at least 22 demolition exercises in the area, yet residents had continually returned. Now, as Ondo State gears up for its upcoming gubernatorial election, logistic challenges are anticipated especially in local governments of Ilaje and Eseodo. Despite these concerns, Independent National Electoral Commission remains confident in its preparations and is committed to ensuring that both personnel and election materials are efficiently delivered to polling units. Resident Electoral Commissioner Mrs. Oluwatoyin Babalola reassured the public that INEC has learned from past experiences and is fully prepared to overcome the challenges posed by the region's difficult terrains. In an interview with newsmen, Mrs. Babalola outlined proactive steps the Commission has taken to address these logistical hurdles, particularly in Ondo's remote and riverine areas. She emphasized that special arrangements have been made to ensure timely deployment of personnel and election materials to all polling units across the state.
Since April, we identified our difficult terrains. Even our flashpoints for the security, we started sharing our flashpoints with them, and we keep sharing it regularly. So the challenge may be the issue of transportation, but we have done so much to ease the challenge of transportation. We have worked ahead of time to ease the challenge of distribution. So what is left now is just to move our materials from the local government to the areas and from the areas to the polling unit. Our staff, they have been working assiduously to ensure that we don't have a repeat of what is usually a huge challenge to election.
More so, Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps has announced the deployment of 6,000 officers to ensure adequate security across the state ahead of Ondo State governorship election. Commandant General of the NSCDC, Dr. Ahmed Audi, disclosed this in a press release signed by the Corps spokesperson, Mr. Babawale Afolabi. Dr. Audi stressed the Corps' readiness to provide comprehensive security before, during, and after the poll, explaining that the personnel would be drawn from Ondo State and neighboring states, including Ekiti, Ogun, Oyo, Osun, Lagos, Edo, and Delta states. It said the officers will be tasked with protecting critical national assets and infrastructure, safeguarding officials from the Independent National Electoral Commission, and ensuring safe distribution of election materials. The NSCDC boss noted that these measures are designed to protect and prevent political violence and thuggery throughout the election process. It stressed the importance of collaboration with Nigerian Police, which is the lead agency for election security, and called for professionalism as well as discipline from all officers involved. He also warned against acts of vandalism, destruction of public utilities, and election-related violence, urging parents to caution their children against being used by politicians for violent purposes. Dr. Audi assured the public of Corps' commitment to protecting voters' fundamental rights while promising to arrest and prosecute anyone attempting to disrupt the election process in accordance with electoral law. While keeping with election matters, let's move to Ogun State, where the governor, Mr. Dapo Abiodun, has stated that opposition parties in the state are essentially unpopular and invisible ahead of upcoming local government elections, attributing this to his administration's impressive performance over the past 5 years. Governor Abiodun expressed confidence that All Progressive Congress will achieve a landslide victory in all 20 local government areas with the quality of candidates it is presenting in the election. In a statement released over the weekend by Special Advisor on Media and Communications, Honorable Kayode Akimade, Governor Abiodun emphasized that his administration has successfully transformed the state's political environment, making it more stable and conducive for all parties to operate freely without fear of intimidation. He further noted that instead of relying on coercion, his administration has outshone opposition parties through solid governance and innovative developmental initiatives. Governor Abiodun called on APC members in Ogun State to remain united and dedicated to sustaining the progress already made. He urged party members to work together in harmony to secure a resounding victory in the 16th November local government elections, reinforcing the APC's dominant position in the state. And crossing over, we move to Akwa Ibom State, where the governor, Pastor Dr. Omoeno, has disclosed that the 13th month salary will be paid next month to bring a more joyful Yuletide experience to civil servants in the state. The governor will disclose this in a statement by his chief press secretary, Mr. Ekerete Udo, also announced that the payment of the 80,000 naira minimum wage to all public servants will commence shortly after completion of the ongoing proper verification exercise to ensure transparency in the discharge of their services. Additionally, Dr. Omoeno urged labor unions in the state to refrain from considering a strike action, emphasizing on the smooth and seamless relationship that has existed between the state government and organized labor. He reassured workers that his administration is committed to addressing their welfare and needs. And now to Kwara State. Governor Abdurrahman Abdurrazak has revealed plans to boost investment in the state's primary health care facilities, as well as in basic, secondary, and tertiary education. The governor made this revelation following his attendance at the 13th Igbomino Day celebration in Iludun, Oru, Irepodun local government area, Kwara State. In a statement by his chief press secretary, the governor called on Kwara residents to continue supporting the government, particularly in addressing security concerns in the state. He also lauded the industrious spirit of the Igbomino people, noting that their strong culture is self-help, which has contributed to their success in both education and enterprise. He emphasized that the Igbomino Day celebration demonstrated the importance of communal bonds and collaboration for collective progress. The governor also commended the support of the Igbomino monarchs and expressed his condolences to the Igbomino people on the recent passing of Chief Lukman Balogun, known as Jagun, the leader of the hunters, and prayed for the repose of his soul while recognizing his lasting legacy. Niger Delta groups under the banner of We Are Stronger Together movement have rejected ongoing calls for protest and removal of current leadership of the Niger Delta Development Commission. In a statement by the movement, the group expressed deep concern that such actions not only hinder progress, but also reflect a destructive mindset that undermines positive efforts and achievements of the NDDC leadership. The statement signed by Mr. Joshua Benjamin highlighted that it was disheartening that instead of supporting NDDC's developmental policies and open door approach demonstrated by its leadership, certain individuals and groups continued to engage in smear campaigns. The groups emphasized that these actions aimed at undermining those in position of authority for selfish political gains were counterproductive and damaging not only to the individuals involved but to the region as a whole. Mr. Benjamin, who is also vice chairman of the Amalgamation of Ethnic Nationalities in the Niger Delta, reaffirmed the people's right to demand accountability from their leaders through lawful and constructive means. He stressed that regional development efforts must be governed by principles of fairness, transparency, and due process, ensuring that all parties are given fair hearing. You're watching ADBN News at 7. Now stay with us for more stories after the break.
Welcome to the world where innovation meets opportunity, where ideas become empires. This is Market TV.
I am Idorian Flannan, and every week I'll be taking you inside the dynamic world of marketing and commercial business.
From groundbreaking startups to big businesses, Market TV brings you the best pricing and latest goods on display.
It's all about understanding your audience and staying ahead of the trends.
Witness the creative processes that drive the various brands.
Join us as we dive deep into the strategies that shape the commercial landscape. From streets to traditional advertising and social media, we cover it all.
Whether you're a seasoned professional or an aspiring entrepreneur, Market TV provides the insights you need to thrive.
This show gave us the tool to turn our vision into reality.
So, if you're ready to master the market, tune into Market TV every Saturday at 6 p.m.
No matter wetin I see, enough fit make mouth heavy to talk am. That's now why people dey talk.
You know wetin dey worry you, but you no go fit take help yourself.
In this kind of situation now, what if they really no talk to una? Wetin be the way forward?
They go bury our chairman on Thursday. We go remain here.
Make we talk good where we dey see good, and where we know say we no dey see good, make we also dey talk am.
No woman, no mother deserve to know the grave of his child.
The bank manager, the bank executive, they are the one the government should first face.
People They Talk, the show on Monday to Friday by 5 p.m. on top ADBN TV.
In a world of overwhelming voices where everyone has different opinion on different issues, it is important that we bring the core issue to the fore. Join me, Nancy Bonigo, on Softline as we lend our voices to inform and influence your thoughts and actions. This is not just mere talk, it is an invocative program that touches the core of our existence.
Thank you for staying with us. Now, Enugu State's Governor, Dr. Peter Mbah, has highlighted his administration's significant investment and interventions that have led to the upgrade and accreditation of Enugu State College of Nursing Sciences. The governor's efforts were underscored as the college hosted an orientation course for a record 283 new students in the 2024 intake, marking highest number of admissions in the institution's history. Governor Mbah, represented by Special Advisor on Health Matters, Dr. Yomi Jaye, while speaking at the grand finale of the 2024 orientation program held at the Esut Auditorium, Park Lane, Enugu, emphasized that the upgrade of the college to a collegiate status aligns with his vision to transform the state's healthcare sector and position Enugu as a leading health tourism hub. Governor Mbah explained that under his leadership, the institute is experiencing significant progress in infrastructure development, manpower enhancement, and most notably, the long-awaited accreditation by the Nursing and Midwifery Council of Nigeria. These improvements, he said, are aimed at producing highly skilled health practitioners who will contribute not only to the state, but also to global healthcare. The acting provost of the college, Dr. Peace Annie, lauded Governor for his remarkable efforts in transforming the institution. She noted that various construction projects are underway, explaining that orientation course would familiarize the student with challenges and expectations ahead, encouraging them to work diligently and aspire to become exceptionally health professionals. We now move to Taraba State, where Governor Agu Kefas has announced a new policy mandating all tertiary institutions in Taraba State to hold convocations annually. The directive is aimed at ensuring timely graduation ceremonies and reinforcing academic standards across the state. Speaking at the combined convocation ceremony of College of Education, Zing, over the weekend, Governor Kefas emphasized the state government's commitment to advancing higher education and ensuring that institutions adhere to regular academic schedules. He explained that his new policy would foster a culture of consistency, ensuring that academic achievements are regularly celebrated across Taraba's institution. The governor further stated that the move would improve students' experience by recognizing graduates' accomplishments in a timely manner. He reiterated his administration's focus on educational reforms that seek to provide accessible and affordable quality education, noting that true wealth lies not only in the state's natural resources, but also in the intellectual and creative talents of his people. Now let's cross over to Kogi State, where the government has initiated identification and registration of members of Motorcycle Operators and Tricycle Owners Association of Nigeria in a bid to curb rising insecurity in the state. Kogi State Commissioner for Transportation, Mr. Atuluku Victor Levi, explained that the primary objective of this registration exercise is to obtain an accurate count of union members and to prevent criminal elements from infiltrating the ranks of legitimate operators in the state. Mr. Levi urged all members of the unions to participate in registration process, stressing that only those affiliated with recognized Motorcycle Operators Union and Tricycle Owners Association will be acknowledged by state government. He emphasized that only officials of these recognized unions are authorized to operate, adding that any unregistered rider or association will face legal penalties. Mr. Levi also stated that it is now punishable across 21 local government areas of Kogi State for any motorcycle or tricycle rider to operate without an official identification number. Once registered, successful members will receive identification cards. And now to security matters. Nigerian Air Force has confirmed successful elimination of several terrorists in Kebbi and Zamfara State during separate airstrikes, as well as the destruction of key strongholds belonging to notorious bandit leaders. In a statement, NAV spokesperson Mr. Olushola Akinboyewa revealed that one of the key targets was the hideout of terrorist kingpin Ado Alero, noting that many of his fighters were killed during the operations. Mr. Akinboyewa explained that first wave of strikes was launched after credible intelligence indicated that uptick in terrorist activities in the region. He also confirmed that several kidnapped victims were able to escape during the strikes. According to intelligence reports and battle damage assessments, the impact of the operation was overwhelming. Amid the chaos, some of the victims who had been held captive by the bandits managed to flee to safety in Kebbi State. Some of the escapees provided testimonies of their freedom. The NAF spokesperson added that these operations have not only struck fear in the hearts of the criminals, but also brought renewed hope to residents who have long suffered under the threat of banditry. You're still watching ADBN News at 7. Stay with us for more stories on the foreign scene after this break.
Welcome to the Niger Delta, a region of incredible beauty and stark contrast. From its breathtaking landscapes to its rich cultural heritage, this is a place where history and modernity collide. But beneath this serene surface lies a story of struggle and resilience. The Niger Delta is the lifeblood of Nigeria's economy, home to vast oil reserves that fuel the nation, yet it is a land where the people fight for their share of the wealth. Join us on the program Niger Delta Today as we explore the heart of the Niger Delta, discover the vibrant cultures, the struggles for environmental justice, and the stories of the people who call this place home. This is the Niger Delta, a land of contrast, a story of resilience, a journey of hope, Don't miss our exclusive series, Niger Delta Today, every day at 12 noon, only on ADBN TV. Witness the untold stories, experience the journey, be part of the change.
No matter wetin I see, enough fit make mouth heavy to talk am. That's now why people dey talk.
You know wetin dey worry you, but you no go fit take help yourself.
If you are not a judge, you are not a judge.
Make we talk good where we dey see good, and where we know say we no dey see good, make we also dey talk am.
No woman, no mother deserve to know the grave of his child.
The bank manager, the bank executive, they are the one the government should first face.
People They Talk, the show on Monday to Friday by 5 p.m. on top ADBN TV.
Step into the heartbeat of the world where news meets real talk. From breakthroughs in diplomacy to humanitarian challenges and scientific milestones, Global Digest takes you beyond the headlines and straight to the heart of the matter. I am Amma Marcus. Be a part of the world's unfolding stories at 3 p.m. on ADBN, channel 258 on DSTV, and Star Times, channel 140. Global Digest, your window to the world's current affairs, only on Advocate Broadcasting Network.
Thank you for staying with us. And now to the foreign scene. Russia President Vladimir Putin has formally signed a historic defense pact with North Korea, solidifying military cooperation between the two nations, amid reports that Pyongyang has sent thousands of troops to fight alongside Russian forces in Ukraine. The deal, which was initially negotiated during Putin's visit to North Korea in June, required approval from Russia's parliament before it could come into effect. The Kremlin published the signed law ratifying the treaty on its website on Saturday evening. The agreement marks a significant step in the growing security alliance between Russia and North Korea, two former communist allies during the Cold War. It commits both countries to providing military assistance without delay if either is attacked, and includes provisions of coordinated efforts in opposing Western sanctions and aligning their positions at the United Nations. Meanwhile, intelligence reports from South Korea, Ukraine, and Western nations suggest that North Korea has deployed approximately 10,000 troops to fight alongside Russian forces in Ukraine. We now move to Mexico, where gunmen in a truck launched a deadly attack at a bar in central Mexico, killing 10 people and injuring at least 7 others. According to authorities, the shooting occurred at Los Cantaritos, a bar located in the downtown district of Querétaro, a city that has largely been spared from the worst of Mexico's violent criminal activity. Surveillance footage released by local media show the assailants jumping off the truck and storming into the bar as patrons scrambled to flee or took cover on the floor. According to Querétaro State Prosecutor's Office, the victims' identities have not yet been released, but forensic teams are examining the scene and the vehicle used by the attackers. The attack highlights the alarming spread of violence across Mexico, much of it fueled by drug trafficking and organized criminal gangs. Since 2006, more than 450,000 people have been killed in Mexico during the country's escalating drug war. And now to stories from Chad. The Chadian troops have suffered heavy casualties in a recent clash with jihadists in Lake Chad region. Officials confirmed that the confrontation follows a series of escalating attacks on Chadian military forces by jihadist groups operating in the region. President Muhammad Idris Deby Itno expressed his condolences on Facebook, offering his support to families of the fallen soldiers and wishing a speedy recovery to the injured. Though he provided no additional details on the incident, The latest clash comes just days after a deadly attack by Boko Haram militants on a Chadian military base in late October, which left at least 40 soldiers dead. In retaliation, the Chadian army launched a major operation against the militants. The Chadian military chief of staff reported that the fighting multiple jihadists were neutralized after several hours of intense combat, though the exact casualty figures were not immediately available. According to military sources, the battle took place on Karia Highland, located in the northwestern part of Lake Chad region. Local media outlets have shared what they claimed were a list of casualties, including numerous high-ranking officers. And now to Amsterdam. Dutch police have detained dozens of pro-Palestinian protesters in Amsterdam after they ignored the ban on demonstrations. Now, the ban had been imposed by mayor following violence involving Israeli football fans. The Amsterdam District Court upheld the mayor's decision to prohibit protests in the city 3 days after clashes between Maccabi Tel Aviv supporters and individuals on scooters rocked several areas of Amsterdam. Despite the ban, hundreds of protesters gathered at Dam Square, holding placards with slogans like "We want our streets back" and chanting "Free Palestine." Police in riot gear moved in during the afternoon, shortly after court's ruling arresting dozens of protesters. The violence erupted after a match between Maccabi Tel Aviv and Ajax, when several Maccabi fans were briefly hospitalized following an assault. The clashes have sparked international condemnation and come amid a rise in anti-Semitic incidents worldwide since the start of Israel-Hamas conflict in Gaza. Let's now get to sports news. Mikel Arteta has insisted that Arsenal cannot accept the defensive standards that allowed Chelsea to equalize in their 1-1 draw at Stamford Bridge on Sunday. Pedro Neto fired a long-range shot past Arsenal goalkeeper David Raya in the 82nd minute, just 10 minutes after Gabriel Martellini had given the Gunners the lead. Arteta, whose sides dominated possession throughout the match, pointed the defensive lapse that led to Neto's equalizer as a key frustration. Despite Chelsea's registering 17 shots, Arteta was adamant that Arsenal should have secured all 3 points. With the draw, Arsenal extended their winless streak in the Premier League to 4 matches, marking their longest such run since April 2023. Still in sports, Nigerian champions Edo Queens made a stellar start at the 2024 CAF Women's Championship League campaign on Sunday, defeating CBE of Ethiopia 3-0 in their Group B opener in Casablanca, Morocco. The victory was sealed by goals from Peace, Folashade Ijamili Lucy, and second-half substitute Goodness Osigwe, ensuring a dominant performance for coach Moses Aduku's side. This convincing win pushed Edo Queens to the top of their group, ahead of Masar FC of Egypt on goal difference. Masar FC had early shocked defending champions Mamelodi Sundowns with a 1-0 win in the group's opening match. Edo Queens will now face Masar FC on Wednesday, followed by a showdown with Mamelodi Sundowns on the 16th day of November, both matches set to take place in the same venue. And that's it on ADBN News at 7. Remember to watch us live on DSTV channel 258, on StarTimes channel 140, Avo TV app, Limix World TV app, and Niger TV app. For more stories, visit our website on www.adbntv.com. You can also watch us live from every part of the world by logging on to www.adbntv.com/live. I am Peace Ogenegbawe, and it's back to Bito Brian and Chijoke Okafo for the continuation of Morning Express. Good morning.
Well, thanks to Peace for taking us around Nigeria and the globe on our first major news bulletin this morning. Let's quickly give you a lineup of what to expect as we carry on with the show. Coming up next would be our newspaper review segment, and then at 9 we'd have our main discussion of the day, which is made up of 3 focal issues in the news. At 10 o'clock, we'd hand you over to our Abuja Sports editor for a weekend review of actions from across the NPFL to elite leagues across Europe. It does promise to be an interactive show this morning. Do well to stay with us as we'll be right back after the break.
Welcome to the world where innovation meets opportunity, where ideas become empires. This is Market TV.
I am Idorian Flennon, and every week I'll be taking you inside the dynamic world of marketing and commercial business.
From groundbreaking startups to big businesses, Market TV brings you the best pricing and latest goods on display.
It's all about understanding your audience and staying ahead of the trends.
Witness the creative processes that drive the various brands.
Join us as we dive deep into the strategies that shape the commercial landscape. From streets to traditional advertising and social media, we cover it.
Professional or an aspiring entrepreneur, Market TV provides the insights you need to thrive.
This show gave us the tools to turn our vision into reality.
So, if you read market, tune into Market TV every Saturday at 6 p.m.
Now here's some exciting news. ADBN is everywhere you are. Stay connected with us across all our social media and streaming platforms for exclusive news updates, captivating stories, and more. Join the ADBN community today via our various platforms on Avo TV app, ADBN channel 121, Niger TV app, ADBN TV, Limex World TV app, ADBN TV. Get the latest news straight to your phone. Join our WhatsApp channel. Just search for ADBN TV and hit the follow button. Turn on your notification to stay updated and never miss any part of the experience. Stay in the conversation with us across our social media handles on X at ADBN_TV, Instagram at ADBN_TV, Facebook ADBN TV, YouTube ADBN TV_NG, and keep visiting our website on www.adbntv.com. Watch us live anytime, anywhere. ADBN TV, a part of you.
Welcome to the Niger Delta, a region of incredible beauty and stark contrast. From its breathtaking landscapes to its rich cultural heritage, this is a place where history and modernity collide. But beneath this serene surface lies a story of struggle and resilience. The Niger Delta is the lifeblood of Nigeria's economy, home to vast oil reserves that fuel the nation, yet it is a land where the people fight for their share of the wealth. Join us on the program Niger Delta Today as we explore the heart of the Niger Delta, discover the vibrant cultures, the struggles for environmental justice, and the stories of the people who call this place home. This is the Niger Delta, a land of contrast, a story of resilience, a journey of hope. Don't miss our exclusive series, Niger Delta Today, every day at 12 noon, only on ADBN TV. Witness the untold stories, experience the journey, be part of the change.
Now here's some exciting news. ADBN is everywhere you are. Stay connected with us across all our social media and streaming platforms for exclusive news updates, captivating stories, and more. Join the ADBN community today via our various platforms on Avo TV app, ADBN channel 121. Niger TV app, ADBN TV. Limex World TV app, ADBN TV. Get the latest news straight to your phone. Join our WhatsApp channel. Just search for ADBN TV and hit the follow button. Turn on your notification to stay updated and never miss any part of the experience. Stay in the conversation with us across our social media handles. On X at ADBN_TV, Instagram at ADBN_TV, Facebook ADBN TV, YouTube ADBN TV_NG, and keep visiting our website on www.adbntv.com. Watch us live anytime, anywhere. ADBN TV, a part of you.
Step into the heartbeat of the world where news meets real talk. From breakthroughs in diplomacy to humanitarian challenges and scientific milestones, Global Digest takes you beyond the headlines and straight to the heart of the matter. I am Amma Marcus. Be a part of the world unfolding stories at 3 p.m. on ADBN, channel 258 on DSTV, and Star Times, channel 140. Global Digest, your window to the world's current affairs, only on Advocate Broadcasting Network.
In a world of overwhelming voices where everyone has different opinion on different issues, it is important that we bring the core issue to the fore. Join me, Nancy Banigo, on Softline as we lend our voices to inform and influence your thoughts and actions. This is not just mere talk, it is an invocative program that touches the core of our existence.
Welcome back, and thanks for staying with us on our flagship program this Monday morning. It's about time for us to give you an overview of the headline stories as captured on the dailies. However, I won't be doing this alone. I'm in the company of Chijioke Okafor. Hello, Chijioke. Good morning to you, and it's nice to be back on the program.
Well, good morning to you, Vito, as well. It's a beautiful Monday morning, and we're all set to take our viewers through some developing news stories this morning. Well, starting off with what has been quite a very tricky situation in the news, where former Vice President and the PDP's presidential candidate in the last general elections has been knocking on the presidency of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. However, the presidency has reiterated or sort of spelt out what it is, saying that former Vice President Alhaji Atiku Abubakar is only envious of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Now, this story is captured on about 3 newspapers this morning: the Matrix newspaper, the Daily Times newspaper, as well as the Nigeria Tribune. Now, let's pick up the first paper as we begin in this lineup. Greeting your screen right now is the Matrix newspaper. In just a short while, having the headline story, State of the Nation comments, again, presidency bombs Atiku. I will take that headline story again with the phrase in red. State of Nation comments, again, presidency bombs Atiku. Now, the strap lines here read, ex-vice president envious of Tinubu's position, displaying sense of entitlement, disconnect from electorate, shown more interest in undermining Tinubu. If you're interested in this, it's continued on news page 2 of the Matrix newspaper. Moving away from that, let's take the header story on the Matrix, where it says that Alake urges South African investors to take advantage of opportunities in Nigeria's mining sector. Now, this is the Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Dele Alake. Away from that, beneath the masthead, another story of interest here reads, NNPP reconfirms Anebonam as BOT chairman, reaffirms Kwankwaso's expulsion from party, says his visit to OT is deceitful, warns Abia governor not to be dragged into the party's internal affairs. While in the Ondo gubernatorial polls coming up this month, Ayedatiwa gathers momentum, secures massive endorsements. Other feature stories here are saying that Reps member has countered Ndume, saying tax reform bills will be passed. while NLC reveals when strike will begin in states yet to implement new minimum wage. Obaseki at large after Edo people rejected his satanic government. This is coming from the governor-elect Okpebolo. Now you'd find a picture of prominence here, that of the Lagos State Governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, and Justice Kudirat Kekerekun, GCON, Chief Justice of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, during a seminar held to celebrate her significant contributions as a proud daughter of Lagos and a pioneering figure in Nigeria's judiciary recently. Now, these are the stories you can find on the front page of the Matrix newspaper.
Now, moving away onto our next newspaper of concern this morning, the Daily Times has a headline much like that we saw on the Matrix. Now, on the Daily Times this morning, you'd find the comment, Presidency, Atiku envious of Tinubu's position, misunderstands Nigeria's current realities, says ex-VP has shown more interest in undermining president than in addressing his party's internal crisis. NLC demands swift government action on economic hardship, fuel pricing. Nigeria's fiscal deficit surges to 7.6% of GDP, exceeding targets. Sanwo-Olu calls for collaboration to make Lagos Africa's powerhouse. On the rider, support army to secure Nigeria's territory. Acting Chief of Army Staff urges Sokoto community as Kebbi government sends delegation to CDS over new terror group. Lokurawa. NAF neutralizes scores of terrorists in Kebbi, Zamfara. And lastly, 2025 budget, why presentation to NAS might delay till December.
Well, let's move away from the Daily Times newspaper and take a look at the Nigeria Tribune, where former Vice President Alhaji Atiku Abubakar has been very vocal lately, criticizing President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's presidency. Now, with the headline story starting off, presidency gets hard on Atiku, says he is envious of Tinubu's position. Presidency gets hard on Atiku, says he's envious of Tinubu's position. Above the masthead, IGP bans Amotekun vigilante from Ondo polls as NSCDC deploys 6,000 operatives. And other stories you'd find here, feature stories inserted to the bottom left side of the Nigeria Tribune newspaper. Nigeria's tax system, among most backward worldwide, contains 1939 laws, says Oyedele. A new terrorist group in Northwest, crush it now, ACF tells federal government. Acting Chief of Army Staff in Sokoto calls for citizens' cooperation. While investors scout for returns as 12 companies embark on 2.26 trillion naira capital raising activities. And on the rider, NLC demands action on worsening hardship and economic crisis. Nigerians groan under high transportation costs. And inserted here prominently is a picture of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu being received by the Deputy Governor of Riyadh, Prince Mohammed Abdulrahman, at King Abdulaziz International Airport to attend the Joint Arab Islamic Summit in Saudi Arabia on Saturday. Now, these are the stories here on the front page of the Nigeria Tribune.
Now, in leaving the Nigerian Tribune, let's also do to accommodate more newspapers greeting our discourse. Our next stop is on the front page of the Punch newspaper. Now, on the Punch newspaper, it does highlight the lead story and concerns of Nigeria's growing debts at all tiers of government. As the headline reads, state's debt hits 11.4 trillion naira as federal allocations rise. Foreign debt hits $4.89 billion as states owe 4.27 trillion naira local debts. Lagos, Rivers, Kaduna, Delta, Edo, top chart. On the rider, you'd have stories. NLC gives governors December 1 deadline for minimum wage payments. Husband arrested for allegedly setting wife ablaze in Ogun. Traders demand 3.4 billion naira compensation for Lagos market demolition. Troops launch manhunt as Lakurawas intensify killings in Sokoto, Kebbi. Ministries making illegal requests for workers' promotion, according to a memo, more of which is contained on the news page 44. Lastly, on the header, Ondo governorship poll. IGP bans Amotekun, others as 15,500 ad hoc staff deployed. INEC clears 1.7 million voters for Saturday's poll. 295,856 PVCs uncollected.
Well, let's take a look at the next paper greeting our lineup of newspaper reviews this morning. The Guardian newspaper comes up in just a short while, starting off with the headline story. Delayed 2025 to 2027 MTEF threatens budget cycle. I'll take that again. Delayed 2025 to 2027 MTEF threatens budget cycle. Now, this story is captured more elaboratively on news page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. And Bola Ahmed Tinubu, alongside the Senate President, Senator Godswill Akpabio, as well as the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Right Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, and Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of Economy, Mr. Wale Edun, as well as Minister Bagudu. Now, away from that, you'd find all those stories beneath those inserted pictures. Stop Wike governors from giving cars, houses to judges. Now, Serap tells Tinubu. While the 2027 leading up to 2027 general elections, Jonathan Obi Kwankwaso's names resound as political jostling intensifies. Arewa groups, Horiwa, Sani nudged North to accept Tinubu's tax reform, while NLC threatens strike December 1st, demands a wage review over worsening hardship. Stranded oil wells, oil facilities stole 2.5 million barrels per day oil production. And on the rider, experts underscore employees' mental health amid rising workplace depression. Inserted here is a picture of Nigeria's First Lady, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, presenting U-lesson educational tablets to a student of the Calabar Preparatory School, Master Akpabio Godswill, during the launch of Niger Delta Development Commission and the Renewed Hope Initiative, partnership for the distribution of 45,000 U-lesson educational tablets at the banquet hall of the State House in Abuja. Now, from left are the chairman of the NDDC Governing Board, Mr. Chiedu Ebie, and NDDC Managing Director, Dr. Samuel Ogbuku.
Now then, moving away from The Guardian, let's also look at the front page of The Vanguard. On The Vanguard, the editorial perspective is as it concerns petrol importation, with bank loans reportedly hitting 3.5 trillion naira. The headline reads, Petrol bank loans for imports to hit 3.5 trillion naira. Marketers set to increase importation. Pump price higher than actual market cost. NLC alleges. Claims Nigerians are being ripped off by marketers. At $72 per barrel of oil, imported petrol should be cheaper in Nigeria, expert says. Ipman faults NLC, says market fully deregulated. Why marketers prefer importation, an analyst gives insight. FG is supporting marketers' move, says Upspan. Dangote Refinery has commercial terms issue, says experts. Now to all the feature stories captured on the front page of the Vanguard, beginning with the header stories. It is a rare privilege to be Bayelsa governor, says Diri. Institutes NS Ikoli annual lecture. Obi can become president in 2027. We will prepare very well, says Tanko. Hunger. Children scavenge for leftover at party prayer houses. And now to the rider stories. Greed collapse, certain elements sabotaging past sector reforms, says Adilabu. Obaseke, Okpobelo differ over non-invitation for inauguration, alleged 5 billion naira budget. Demolition, we won't succumb to blackmail. Bode George, Sanwo-Olu, Lagos traders harassed, flogged like criminals. CAF, Women's Champions League dominant Edo Queens, Rao CB, Top Group B. These are the stories you'd find captured on the Vanguard.
Now, away from the Vanguard, the Daily Trust newspaper captures the challenges bedeviling the real estate sector as prices of building materials continue to skyrocket. A bag of cement now pegged at 8,800 naira in the market. Now, let's pick up the Daily Trust newspaper together and take a look at that headline story as well as other feature stories captured on the front page. I will take the headline story. Cement hits 8,800 naira as cost of building materials skyrocket. Now, strap lines here say iron rod jumps from 800,000 naira to 1.6 million naira in 1 year. Situation dashing our hope of owning houses, citizens have cried out. And experts blame naira depreciation and transportation cost. Beneath the masthead, rescue our children. Parents of Zamfara students in Cyprus beg governor. Protests trails demolition of Ruga. Wike invites victims. Kawu to governor of Kano State. Don't please Kwankwaso at the expense of masses. And other feature stories here inserted to the bottom left. Vandals destroy Lokoja Gwagwalada transmission line. Nigerians win elections in US and Australia. While Edo governorship polls, ICPC to probe INEC officials over infractions. Here you'd find a picture of bags of cement displayed for sale along the Obafemi Awolowo Way in Jabi, Abuja recently. Now, earlier I had mentioned that a bag of cement has now hit 8,800 naira, quite a very worrisome development. On the rider, ACF urges action as Laukurawa kills 15 in KB. While Governor Idris sends delegation to NSA, CDS says terrorists may soon overtake Argungun Emirate. Acting Chief of Army Staff visits Sokoto, seeks residents' support. Now, these are the stories captured on the front page of the Daily Trust newspaper.
And moving on to our next newspaper, let's reiterate that the headlines are only read as published and are not in any way a position of ADBN Television as it concerns issues in the news. The next newspaper coming in is The Nation newspaper. The editorial perspective is on how tax reform bills will boost revenue for tiers of governments by panel. That is indeed the headline. As the accompanying straplines beneath that read, payment consolidated, the reach to pay more, VAT favors states, cancels, and then you have some highlights of what to expect from the new tax bill. VAT decentralization to address states' long-standing concerns on fairness. States to get benefits from prioritized economic activities. 5% cut from federal government share as fiscal equalization buffer for states. 8 tax laws for consolidation. FIRS name change to NRS reflects agency's unified role. 60 federal agencies to lose tax collection powers. Adjustments to achieve 18% tax to GDP ratio target within 3 years. Now, beneath that headline story, you'd find inserted, Save Us from Terror Group, Lokurawa, Kebbi State begs CDS. Why Okpebolo pulled out of joint transitional team with Obaseke's government. On the header, you have 3 more stories. Vandals disrupt bulk power on another transmission line. Stock exchange tightens rules on shares buyback. Fubara, I will still work with Oko Jumbo-led assembly. Kwankwaso's meeting with OT signals 2027 alliance talks. Discos insists consumers must pay for meter replacements. Firm snub FCCPC's neck.
Now, following President-elect Donald Trump's victory in the just concluded U.S. presidential elections, analysts have speculated that his win may weaken the naira, amongst other implications to the Nigerian country. Now, the Daily Independent newspaper captures this headline perfectly. It greets screen in just a few seconds. Also, read out other accompanying stories on the front page. On the Daily Independent, Trump's win may weaken naira and raise debt service cost, and PMS price. I'll take the headline story again. Trump's win may weaken Naira, raise debt service cost, PMS price. Above the masthead, you'd find two stories of interest. Federal government says 5.4 trillion naira in subsidy removal, says the presidency, as they also allege that Atiku is envious of Tinubu's position as president. Serap asks Tinubu to stop Wike and governors from giving cars, houses to judges. And inserted here are other future stories in the news. New minister says he was appointed to deliver Kano to APC in 2027. An acting chief of army staff seeks citizens' cooperation to overcome insecurity, especially in the northwestern part of the country. Leading up to the Ondo gubernatorial polls, IGP bars Amotekun from election duties. Obedient movement re-strategizes, insists on a new Nigeria in 2027. No blackmail can stop us from demolishing illegal structures, says FCT Minister Barrister Nyesom Wike. And of course, here's a picture of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu alongside Prince Mohammed Abdulrahman, Deputy Governor of Riyadh, during the president's arrival at King Abdulaziz International Airport, Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, on Sunday. Now, the president is there for the Arab Islamic Summit. On the rider, despite increased aircraft and airfares, airfares will remain high, stakeholders have revealed. And God has energized us to govern more resolutely, Fubara declares, amidst the Rivers internal crisis rocking the state.
Now, in keeping with more newspapers coming in this morning, let's also cross over to the front page of the Leadership newspaper. The headline still mirrors in the new terror group wreaking havoc in Kebbi and Sokoto states. As it reads, wipe out Lakurawa's noun, northern leaders tell military, say terrorists sack security agents, local vigilantes. Troops pound bandits in Kebbi, Zamfara. And the prominent picture beneath that headline is a picture of the FCT minister on his inspection of some of the demolished illegal settlements in Wuye district of Abuja. Now, and above that, you'd have in blue, few judges giving judiciary bad name, says CJN. High cost, travelers dump local agents, buy foreign tickets outside Nigeria. Demolition, traders sue Lagos, demand 3.4 billion naira damages. 2 killed in Ebonyi boundary disputes. NDLEA smashes cross-border drug syndicates. Stop undermining Tinubu, presidency tells Atiku. NLC to embark on strike over new minimum wage, December 1. Ondo, stay clear of election duties, IGP warns Amotekun.
Now, following the recent terrorist group that has sprung up in the northwestern part of the country, the Lakurawa, the Arewa Consultative Forum has tasked the federal government to ensure that they address the onslaught and recruitment drive of the terror group. Now, the Blueprint newspaper captures this headline story as well as other stories making rounds in the news. Let's pick up the Blueprint now together, shall we? Starting off with the phrase in red, terrorism in Northwest. ACF tasks federal government on Lakurawa onslaught and recruitment drive. As the strap lines say that the Chief of Army Staff, Oluyede, is in Sokoto charging troops to smoke out insurgents, while KB government donates 50 million naira to slain victims' families. Beneath the masthead, Bago warns as Niger expects 1 million metric tons of cotton harvest. FIRS names Dangote most targeted organization. Eguavon leads out Super Eagles to Abidjan in the AFCON games, while IGP bans quasi-security outfits, affirms NPF readiness in the Ondo gubernatorial polls. Elsewhere, Tinubu may present 2025 budget in December. And of course, you'd find here a picture of the general manager, Gilmore Construction Company, Moshe Ben Simon, coordinator, Satellite Towns Development Department, Abdul Kadir Zulkifli, hopeful, as well as the Minister of the FCT, Ezenwonya Wike, former lawmaker representing the FCT in the National Assembly, Senator Philip Aduda, during the inspection of the ongoing Kuje Primary School and Market Road in Luke, Abuja, yesterday. Now, this was on Saturday, I beg your pardon. Now, of course, you'd also find a rider story here saying that the Islamic groups have moved to brainstorm on tax reform bills. Islamic groups move to brainstorm on tax reform bills. LCCI tasks FIRS on technological innovation. And Okpebholo rejects Edo government's proposal to fund inauguration. It is rare privilege to be Bayelsa governor, Governor Diri has said. And domestic debt of 36 states, FCT hits 4.27 trillion naira in second quarter of 2024. And of course, the Minister of the FCT, Barrister Nyesom Wike, has said we won't be intimidated over blackmail on Shanti demolition.
And in keeping with our final newspaper this morning, just before we set the ball rolling with our broader conversation dissecting these various headline stories and issues in the news, let's also take a look at the First News newspaper. On the First News newspaper, you'd find the headline story is published, Lakurawa terror threats spark urgent military action in Sokoto again. Lakurawa terror threats sparks urgent military action in Sokoto. Army chief, northern leaders unite for swift response to growing insurgency. Now, above that headline, you'd find inserted or feature stories. Presidency to Atiku, end the grand illusion, join nation-building efforts. Treat leaders with dignity, not like terrorists. Governor Bode George tells Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu. Drama in Edo, Okpebholo claims Obaseki on the run before inauguration. Few judges tarnishing judiciary's reputation. Wike, no blackmail will halt Abuja Shanti demolitions. On the rider, you'd find December 1 strike looms as NLC demands minimum wage compliance. Political challenges in Rivers, part of God's plan, says Fubara. New minister vows to reclaim Kano for APC in 2027. And that's it on our overview of front page stories and headlines. As we look to broader discuss this conversation, we'll be having our reviewer join virtually on the show this morning as we look to start that conversation. Be reminded that you too can share your comments, thoughts, and opinions by joining our online stream on either our YouTube or our webpage. On YouTube is at adbn_ng. Our webpage is www.adbntv.com/live. Remember, it's about objectivity whilst you look to lend your voice to the conversation. We're going to remember return. We'll get the ball rolling with our conversation tailored around issues. Stay with us.
Welcome to the world where innovation meets opportunity. Where idea. This is Market TV.
I am Idorian Flannan. I'll be taking you inside the dynamic world of marketing.
From groundbreaking startups to big businesses, Market TV is our latest goods on display.
It's all about understanding your audience and strengths.
Witness the creative processes that drive the various brands.
Join us as we dive deep into the strategies that shape the commercial landscape, streets to traditional advertising and social media. Do it all.
Whether you're a seasoned professional or an aspiring entrepreneur, TV provides the insights you need to thrive.
This show gave us the vision into reality.
So, if you're ready to master the market, tune into Market TV every Saturday at 6 p.m.
Welcome to the Niger Delta, a region of incredible beauty and stark contrasts. From its breathtaking landscapes to its rich cultural heritage, stage. This is a place where history and modernity collide. But beneath this serene surface lies a story of struggle and resilience. The Niger is the lifeblood of Nigeria's economy, home to vast oil reserves of the nation, yet it is a land where the people fight for their share of the wealth. Join us on the program Niger Delta Today as we explore the heart of the Niger Delta, discover the vibrant culture, the struggles for environmental justice, and the stories of the people who call this home. This is the Niger Delta Contrast, a story of resilience, a journey of hope. Don't miss our exclusive Sierra Delta Today, every day at 12 noon, only on ADB. Witness the untold stories, experience the journey, be part of the change.
No matter wetin eye enough fit make mouth heavy to talk am. That's now why people dey talk.
You know wetin dey worry you, but you no go fit take help your.
In this kind of situation now, what if they really no talk to una? Wetin be the way forward?
They go bury our chairman on Thursday. We go remain here.
Make we talk good where we dey see good, and where we know say we no dey see good, make we also dey talk am.
No woman, no mother deserve to live of his child.
The bank manager, the bank executive, they are the government to first face.
People They Talk, the show on Monday to Friday by 5 Top ADBN TV.
Now here's the news. ADBN is everywhere you with us across all our social media and streaming platforms for exclusive news stories and more. Join the ADBN community today via our various platforms on Avo TV app, ADBN channel 21, Niger TV app, ADBN TV, Limex World TV app, ADBN TV. This is news straight to your phone. Join our WhatsApp channel. Just search ADBN TV and hit the follow button. Turn on your notification to stay updated and never miss any part of the experience. Stay in the conversation with us across our social media handles on X at ADBN_TV, Instagram at ADBN_TV, Facebook ADBN TV, YouTube ADBN TV_NG, and keep visiting our website on www.adbntv.com. Watch us live anytime, anywhere. ADBN TV, a part of you.
Step into the heartbeat of the world where news meets real talk. From breakthroughs in diplomacy to humanitarian challenges and scientific milestones, Global Digest takes you beyond the headlines and straight to the heart of the matter. I am Amma Marcus. Be a part of the world unfolding stories at 3 p.m. on ADBN, channel 258 on DSTV, and Star Times, channel 140. Global Digest, your window to the world's current affairs, only on Advocate Broadcasting Network.
Very well then, thanks for staying tuned to ADBN Television. Let's get our conversation started around headline stories and feature stories as captured on the front pages. Well, whilst we are also would be looking forward to being joined by in-house analyst who is in Ondo State ahead of the build-up to the Gubo poll this weekend, monitoring election deployments and activities ahead of that build-up. But still in the studio with me, Chioke Okafo, we were talking earlier about this back and forth between the presidency and the former VP Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. Now, reports this morning is quite comical in calling him envious of the president Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Last week, I remember people were talking about him being one of the most vocal opposition voices and playing the role of a good opposition. This morning, it's about envy. I don't know if this is basically the propaganda with which, you know, governments of the day and opposition banter each other, but is it more of envy or playing the role of opposition in your perspective?
Well, I honestly, Vito, it's as funny as it might seem. This is a situation that I might want to describe as band for band, and for somebody like Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, former vice president, to be very vocal about the policies of the current administration of the day. A lot of people might misconstrue his words for envy. And of course, the presidency would always want to defend the president. They would always want to defend their regime, citing that that it's probably because Atiku lost the last general elections. That's why he has been on top of the mountain screaming and shouting that President Bola Tinubu's administration is an anti-people and draconian government. If you remember very well, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar has been running for presidency for quite a very long time now. I mean, since the end of his the Olusegun Obasanjo administration, where he served as vice president. It has been from one election to another, from one political party to another. He has been in the APC, he has been in the PDP from inception. You know, he has just been switching parties, trying to become president. And you never can really tell what he has in mind for Nigerians unless he truly becomes president and we see his actions. The same thing happened with former President Muhammadu Buhari when he became, or when he was vying for presidency, and you know, people thought he was going to be a messiah to the nation and all. He came in, and I can tell you from experience, it wasn't quite a smooth ride for many people. And of course, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is here, and in as much as he has only been in power for less than or a little over a year, people continue to grapple with the daunting realities of the hardship facing the country, and all thanks to his administration. I mean, he's at the helm of affairs, and the people around him are the ones who determine some of these policies, who advise him to set some of these policies rolling. So for someone like Atiku Abubakar to, you know, want to be president, it might be stemming from the fact that he's a patriotic Nigerian. He loves Nigeria. He loves democracy. They started the concept and idea of democracy in the country when, you know, we returned to civilian rule in 1999, starting off with President Olusegun Obasanjo. And being vocal about what the Tinubu administration is doing is only normal for any opposition. In the entire People's Democratic Party, I don't think anybody, any high-ranking PDP member is as vocal as Atiku has been towards the shortfalls of the current administration. And he would always, you know, point out where things are not going right, and say, oh, hey, look, these policies that you are rolling out are not suitable for the Nigerian populace. Change this, change that. But of course, it only remains the decision of the presidency to decide whether or not they want to go by his suggestions, or they just want to trash it out the window because it's coming from an opposition. And for the big elephant in the room, talking about the presidency citing envy as the cause of these statements, I really don't think Atiku is envious of Tinubu. Has he vied for the presidency? Yes. Does he wish he should have been president or could have been president? Absolutely. But when you say envy is too subjective. It's too subjective a word to throw at somebody of Atiku's class. He can't certainly be envious of the president. And the presidency should, as a matter of fact, desist from being petty, because this is a very petty statement to make. I know political propagandas can be taken to any extent, and you can roll in the mud to push an agenda. But at a time when people's lives are at stake, people's lives are on the line, Nigerians are grappling with hardship, with poverty and hunger, and the ever-increasing high cost of living, I don't think petty comments like stating that somebody calling out the government on their actions or inactions should be cited as envy. So the presidency should perhaps retract their words. There is room for criticism, there is room for constructive criticism, and what Atiku Abubakar has done in recent times, especially since the inception of this administration, is to criticize the administration constructively. He has said some things that, if you look at it from an objective point of view, you will find sense in what he's saying.
There is sense in what he's saying, because he's been very objective. He has actually named items and not just thrown a blanket statement in his review of the state of the nation.
Yes.
He's talked about the piecemeal approach of subsidy removal, which was not done, and he has also kicked against the flotation of the naira in a bid to unify the exchange rate. Now, the balance in this conversation, much like Chijioke has painted it, is the objectivity. Whilst the president has come from the angle of saying that the ex-VP is looking to undermine President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's efforts. They're saying that he should rather prioritize solving the internal crisis within the People's Democratic Party, PDP, other than encountering the current position of the APC. Now, this has made headline stories on 3 newspapers like we earlier saw, but the bigger agenda now is in terms of how it would fix Nigeria's economy. Now, whilst the papers also in the editorial headlines also looked at the issue of a rising debt burden at all tiers of government despite increased federal allocation, it is now becoming worrisome that we have a huge debt burden. The Punch newspaper points to the numbers this morning. On the Punch, you'd find the headline, States debt hits 11.4 trillion naira as federal allocations rise. Foreign debt hits $4.89 billion as states owe 4.27 trillion local debts. Now, the likes of Lagos, Rivers, Kaduna, Delta, and Edo are said to be topping that chart. Now, Chijioke, the challenge here is, whilst people like the ex-VP have knocked the president over some steps, many Nigerians have applauded him for fighting for local government autonomy.
Yes.
This has also seen a translation of the monies mopped up from subsidy removal injected back into the states through FAC. But despite this rising FAC allocation, a lot of states we see this morning are dependent on borrowing. Some of them are even 50% dependent on FAC allocations for 55% of their revenue. The challenge now, is it a sub-regional challenge where the governors need to be blamed? Or how does one look at this issue of our rising debt burden and begin to debate it in a time when the federal government is seen to be sending more money to states?
Well, Bito, I'm quite surprised that you are asking if the state governors should be blamed. Who else should be blamed?
Not name blaming, like the sub-regional approach towards fixing our debt burden.
Yes.
Now, we've looked at it as the state governors being part of the reason. But now in a time when we're debating the coming on board of local government chairmen and their loyalty to such state governors.
Yes.
Do we ever get away from this blame game in terms of a sub-regional approach to getting the states and local government areas to be able to generate their own revenue?
Well, for local government areas, somebody that I've had a conversation with, an economic analyst, and one thing that he mentioned is that if states really want to generate revenue that can sustain them, they should focus more on the local government councils, who are at the helm of affairs, at the forefront of ensuring that they are in touch with the people directly. Local governments generate or are capable of generating enormous amount of revenue. And talking about debts, yes, the FAC allocations have sort of increased in recent times, especially with the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. But if you have situations or you have states where the state governors continue to loot the states, what do you expect? When allocations are made and the governors divert funds to themselves or their cohorts, or give themselves what is it called, contracts in some sort of covered manner, in a discrete manner, they allocate contracts to themselves. It's just like the money is coming in from the federal government, passes through the account of the state government, and then back into the pockets of the state governors. Definitely the state has to go back and rely on borrowing. It's not rocket science, it's simple. If these allocations are to be used for the state's development itself, there will be absolutely no need for the state government to go about borrowing. How do you explain that allocations have increased, yet states are crying that they do not have money? Is it inflation? Are we talking about inflation? Is that the cause? If it is inflation, I believe the increment in state allocations would have mitigated the effects of inflation on the monies that are being allocated to states. So if you take a look at it holistically, the other day we were having a conversation with a guest online virtually, and he made mention of something. I can't quite remember the state. It was perhaps Abia State. That the governor went behind everybody's back to the State House of Assembly and enacted a bill that made it mandatory for local government council chairmen to remit 95% of allocations given to them by the federal government office. Now, if you have one state that somebody talked about, how many more states are doing this secretly and Nigerians don't know?
How do you draws into question the part of civil society organizations and perhaps SERAP
exactly
also had their office raided?
Yes,
it almost feels like Nigerians don't have a voice or a means of expressing.
Nigerians don't have a voice, they don't have a means of expressing themselves, and when people like Alhaji Atiku Abubakar come out to express the voice of Nigerians, to speak on behalf of the masses, what does the presidency do? The presidency calls him envious. So what are we doing? Who do we go to? Who do the masses go to? If organizations like SERAP are being threatened every now and then, if organizations like SERAP are being raided, their offices are being raided and all, who do we run to? Yes, of course, Atiku Abubakar is part of the elites, and in as much as most people might not really trust his motive of always being behind the masses, it still doesn't stop the fact that as it stands now, he appears to be the only elite member in the country who is vocal about the sufferings of Nigerians. Well, alongside his former boss, the former president, Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, who isn't really as vocal as Atiku has been. Now, so these are the issues, Bito. If we want to be transparent about allocations, if we want to be transparent about if local governments have actually gained autonomy, full autonomy in states, let us be transparent about these things. Not having Nigerians believe that LGAs or local government councils have autonomy, they have direct access to funds from the federal government, they can make decisions, they can take up projects within the local government areas without the necessary interference of the state governors or the state government, and yet behind the scene, they are actually remitting almost or more than 90% of the allocations back to the state government. That is deceit.
Now, one thing to be traced from it is, in Chijioke's word, deceit, in my opinion, corruption. Now, corruption has found its way into procurement within the government's institutions and also in the award of contracts. Now, the Guardian newspaper also looks at two other issues, much like off the back of comments made by the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Kudirat Kekereekun. This morning, the Guardian has a feature story that says, "Stop Wike governors from giving cars, houses to judges." SERAP tells Tinubu. That story is just beneath the prominent picture of some of the major players ahead of our next budget cycle. Now, many things are being projected to happen in the month of December. On the 1st of December, there are projections that the NLC might embark on a strike following delays in the implementation of minimum wage. But even more pressing is the delayed 2025 to 2027 medium-term expenditure framework, which is also projected to threaten the budget cycle. Now, you'd find the president, the Senate president as well, the Speaker of the House, the Minister of Finance, Minister of National Budget and Planning, all faces of persons who are involved in planning for the nation on a medium-term basis going into the next year ahead of the elections come 2027. It is crucial with shortfalls in our crude oil production as well. It's more of a budget cycle that is hinged on funding that is not even available. With two things in mind. Now, SERAP is urging the president to stop the FCT minister and other governors from awarding houses and cars to judges, which they feel might be part of the issues why the judiciary is not so strong forced in flushing out corruption. On the other hand, even apart from that, the legislature also has its own bureaucratic bottlenecks in allowing for a speedy passage of budgets to tackle issues of capital expenditure going into the next year?
Well, Bito, there is a very thin line between lobbying and corruption, lobbying and bribery. There's a very, very thin line between those. And for people like the FCT minister and other governors in the state giving cars and houses to judges, I remember recently a judge's housing estate was commissioned in the FCT here in Katampe, the Katampe axis of Abuja, where the Chief Justice was present alongside the FCT minister. And that was met by a lot of criticism from stakeholders and well-meaning Nigerians who decried a little hint of bribery or mouth gagging in the whole process, citing that yes, in as much as it is perfectly good for the government to always consider the welfare of judges or the welfare of members of the judiciary in states or in the country, it is also important to note that while they are doing that on one hand, they should also not gag the judiciary on the other hand, because of course favors like this could amount to counter favors in the future, where if perhaps somebody like the FCT minister runs into trouble or any of the state governors run into trouble, they could say, oh, we gave you people cars, we gave you people houses, what can you do for us now? Tit for tat.
And even from the position of his wife also being among voted judges,
yes,
I know in particular the FCT minister has faced some sort of scrutiny with his role and interference in
and being a member of the judiciary system as well, being a lawyer himself. He has also, of course there should be criticism. People should criticize him for doing it's not completely out of place, but the notion or the intention under which these actions were taken is what should be the focal point at the moment. And of course, Serap telling the president to stop Wike and other governors from, giving cars and houses to judges. Serap can only talk. Yes, they have been doing a lot of talking. Yes, they have been doing a lot of advocacy, and that is fantastic. Kudos to them. Very beautiful work they're doing, quite commendable. But it's also at the discretion of the president to decide whether or not he wants to stop these state governors from giving out cars or houses to judges. And of course, the judiciary should also know better than just receiving gifts from state governors, because nothing is free. A free lunch always has some sort of, attachments to it. So if you are taking a free lunch today, be rest assured that you are given a free dinner tomorrow.
Well, it's quite some of those pressing issues in the news which we'll be looking to expand our conversation on. And whilst another build-up to an off-cycle election with keenly contested positions in it is a voting demographic of 1.7 million registered voters in Ondo State. But despite that number, we hear that over 238,000 plus PDCs remain uncollected. Now, this morning, we'll be making attempts to join the publicity secretary of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Mr. Ayo Fadaka, virtually to look at the build-up into the election and also to check on issues in the news. Now, this morning, let's kindly make a correction to his designation. He is the Special Advisor Media to the campaign organization and not the Publicity Secretary of the PDP. Now, if we have that all sorted out, let's check that our connection is indeed right to have Mr. Ayo Fadaka join on the program. Hello, Mr. Ayo, can you hear us? Well, I can see you. I'm still making to hear you. Good morning to you, and thanks for agreeing to come on the program this morning. Well, check that you're not muted at your own end, because it may appear as though you're muted on your own end.
Has been taken care of now.
All right, well taken care of, and thank you for joining the program. We'll get into the build-up of the Ondo election very shortly, but another pressing issue which my colleague and I had debated about is the position on the presidency on the former VP Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. They're calling him envious. They're saying he should focus on fixing issues within the PDP rather than in serving as a voice of reason to the current government. Care to make any comments on that before we progress to the build-up to the Ondo elections?
Well, I think that's a very unfortunate statement, because we as Nigerians, we have the right to complain about how we are being ruled if we are not being driven very well. For over 1 year, going to 2 years now, thereabouts, that President Tinubu has been in the saddle. It has been hell on earth for every Nigerian, irrespective of your economic status. It's been absolute hell. And we should all be able to complain. We should be able to offer advices. All Vice President Atiku Abubakar has done is to prefer new solutions that he thinks will take Nigeria out of the crisis we have found ourselves in today by trying to talk to the government. And it seems as if this is not a listening government. And even beyond that, I think the positions by Onanuga has been taken in recent times since they assumed this position has been absolutely unfortunate. Those positions lack maturity in approach, and it's very unfortunate that such a person who was in the trenches in the dark days of the Abacha rule has somehow lost focus. I don't know if it's psychophancy. I don't know if it's the spoil of the office that have bailed him over. Whatever it is an unfortunate development for him.
Now, on the position of the PDP vis-a-vis the government of the day, there have also been issues with the FCT minister, and in a build-up to the elections like we've seen, as we saw in Edo and now in Ondo, people are also looking at that influence of federal might as against issues within the forces in the PDP that should be able to win states. Do you think that this division has affected the results in Edo, and should it be a case of worry going into the Ondo elections?
Well, let me underscore the fact that we are not scared of going to this election, because we know fear and scare will beat APC. APC has done so badly that it has become such a very serious scourge to the people of this country that they do not want to see anything about APC any longer. It is even beyond it being PDP versus APC, it is more or less the people against APC now. So we know we will beat APC hands down, as everybody is taking a walk from the APC, but the criminality of that party, what we saw them do in Edo, what they did in Edo, tells us that we have to be extra careful. It's a party that does not seem to respect the electoral desires of the people. INEC in the days, from the days of Yar'Adua to Jonathan, was an improved and a better packaged INEC that we have begun to be having confidences in election results when it comes. But the APC has been in power. It looks like Nigerians have been voting in vain. And I think it is time that we rescue our nation from the vice grip of people who do not have respect for the people of the nation or their electoral desires. In those states, we are going to make our votes count. Whoever that seeks to use any power, any influence to compromise this vote will certainly have himself to blame. I am not threatening, because the might of the people is bigger than the might of any government. They may seek to repress us, but the repression will not go the way they think it's going to be. What I am saying essentially is that they should allow our votes to count in Ondo. When that happens, we will beat APC hands down here. They should allow the people to go out and vote. They should not change the rules of the game in the middle of the game. Like it happened in Edo, the electoral law says that you cannot change collation from one place to the other. In Edo, we saw that happened. We saw collation needlessly suspended without reasons till tomorrow. Such attitude we do not want to happen in our state.
Well, Mr. Ayo, let's talk about the peace accord that was recently signed ahead of the Ondo gubernatorial polls. Many people have argued that perhaps, on one hand, the peace accord is a necessary act to ensure that elections go free and fair in Nigeria, especially during state elections or gubernatorial polls. While on the other hand, some people are of the opinion that it is just a formality and doesn't really hold any water in terms of ensuring that there is peace in or during the election, considering the high level of violence that has been seen in recent elections across the country. Do you share the same thoughts, or which party fall under?
Well, the requisite need, the requisite qualification for peace, the requisite qualification for peace is justice. Once justice is seen to have been done, people will not threaten peace. It is when people inflict injustice, inflict cheating, that there is a reaction that comes from that. You cannot me and expect me to look the other way. So we're asking them to play by the rules, don't steal votes, allow votes to count, and there will be peace. As for our revered former head of state, who everybody respects, is because that people still attend those functions. It is more of a talk show about peace. It has no power to enforce peace. It even has no power to make people ensure that justice is dispensed at every level. So as far as I care, and as far as I know, it is more or less, and apologies to their head of state, Bishop Kuka too, who also pretend over this. It is more a worthless exercise. What we are asking for in this instance is that there must be justice here. People must not steal votes. People must not compromise votes. They should allow the votes of the people of Ondo State to count. I know we are winning this election. If it goes other way, or otherwise that we don't, and we saw that the process is clean, fair and just, we won't complain.
Well, Mr. Ayo, it appears that the PDP has always had this trend of crying foul even before elections take place. Like in the case of the Edo gubernatorial polls, we saw that members of the PDP were actively worried about the outcome of the election, citing that the APC wants to hijack it in certain illegal ways. And now you are here citing that the APC is a criminal party with criminal activities, especially when it comes to elections. Is perhaps the PDP not really united in such a way that they can fight their way through gubernatorial polls to clinch the most favored seats in a state? Is this because of the internal crisis in your?
Well, since you began with Edo, the Edo people came out to say that the fellow that was wrecked, or that is even still wrecked there, is compromised. They said he has vested interest. And what happened after the elections? While the election going, early results show that PDP was leading in 2 senatorial districts.
Yes.
And suddenly, in the northern senatorial district, Esako, one of the Esako local governments, the police went into collation, drove everybody out, and hijacked collation. Somewhere in the central district, they uprooted collation outrightly and took it to INEC headquarters. Just cause that in itself runs contrary to the electoral law that states that collation shall not be removed from the designated places. Isn't that criminal? The cry of the Edo people, was it not? Was the cry of the Edo people not justified by the actions that INEC took during that election? Our instance here is not too much far from that. We have said continuously here that the woman that is INEC commissioner here, we were in the University of Ife together. Yes, not about family, we went to University of Ife together. He's from Ondo State. We have said that she had lived practically all her life, childhood and adult of her lives in Ondo State. We have said that she's in bed with APC leaders. Each time we complain, the only time INEC has responded is to say she's not from Ondo State. While agreeing with INEC that she's not from Ondo State, on account of the fact that On her resume, she put Ekiti State, where she does not live, you know. And again, I say that in this country, if you have lived practical life in a given location, you are more or less an indigenous state. That is why my good friend, I continue to cite Rita Oji, who was in the National Assembly from Lagos State. We all know Oji is not a Yoruba name in any case. So it shows this woman who lived there, who went to work in Abuja, retired and returned to her parents' house in Akure here, is from Ondo State. INEC is known not to post people that are from a state or have affinity to a particular state to such states to work. Why is our own different? And again, INEC said we were trying to help INEC to get credibility by complaining that move this woman out of here. Bring anybody anywhere whatsoever to come and sit at top of the process. INEC did not have, INEC still has the moral, the morality to so do. Why they may say that there's no law that says nobody can serve in their state, but then we all know that they are not standing on any moral ground for doing what they are doing now. And the woman, Toyin herself, she's a lawyer. She's a very brilliant woman. She as a lawyer knows that even when there are cases before judges, when judges suspected or known to have vested interest in the case before, they recuse themselves from doing so, from sitting on such cases. Why can't you even say that as a responsible person, and I've been elected to have vested interest in this, please, Mr. Chairman, INEC, let me stand aside. Let this election be conducted without me, and I will resume after the election. That will bring credibility to the process. That will take away every level of suspicion from the process. All what we require, all what we want, all what we ask for is for this nation to have a transparent electoral system, whereby the votes of the people, we always can't. Where that is not the situation, we may be laying landmines for our democracy and for our nation too. So I'm begging, we are begging the APC-led government to allow this place to be clean. Everybody in Nigeria knows that APC did not win the election in Edo, that PDP most likely won the election. And what did Ganduje, who is the chairman of APC, he said, yeah, now that they have gotten Edo, they are going to bring the templates they use in Edo to come and work in Ondo. I mean, I have not seen that kind of shamelessness before. You know, how can you be touting yourself as the owner of a template that is criminal?
Well, Mr. Ayo, whilst that is a large concern following the outcomes of the election in Edo, but now on the position of INEC, whereas raised concerns about the status of the resident electoral commissioner, Mrs. Oluwato, satisfied with the level of preparedness of INEC in terms of deployment of electoral materials?
It is yet to happen. I cannot give a post-certification to what is yet to happen. Let's see them deploy first. Or what she said is still a proposal.
Now, what's that position on this matter? How about on the level of security? Because I listened to the IGP as well and talked about the fact that Amotekun should stay off the election, that we have enough police officers deployed for the election. Do you think that we have enough boots on ground to dissuade those looking to disturb the peace in Ondo State ahead of the polls? Well, whilst it may seem as though the network is developing some glitch, I'll take my question again if we can re-establish connection to Mr. Ayo Fadaka.
We actually know that statement will come again. Please, I'm back with you.
Carry on, sir.
Let me use the opportunity to call on the IG. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Let me use the opportunity to call on IG to please police Ondo State very well on Saturday. We are aware that battalions of thugs have been moved to Ondo State. And we also know that they are programming them to take them to the countryside in Ondo State where they suspect that they will have enough power, enough clout to compromise the elections. Let me ask the IG now to deploy enough troops to the rural areas in Ondo State and stop these thugs from flying on Saturday. People do say, people do say that for every action, there is a reaction. If they do, there will be a reaction to them. But we desire peace in our state. Let the talks that the APC has important to our state, please.
Oh, the network is being unkind to Mr. Ayo as he's looking to make his points there, but quite challenging in a build-up to Saturday's election again, which would be our next question, is the amount of uncollected PVCs.
Yes.
Over 295,000 plus, and I also to get the view of Mr. Ayo on why such a huge number of PVCs are yet to be collected with just 6 days to the polls. I don't know if the network will allow for Mr. Ayo to complete his thoughts, but Chijioke, it's one of those concerns, voter apathy, each election after election.
Well, voter apathy is quite a cancerous issue in Nigeria's electoral system. It has always been there, especially when people sort of anticipate the outcome of an election even before the election itself holds, where you find that I believe at this point we probably have Mr. Ayo back on the line. Before I will come back and continue this, I think we should
let's join him.
Let's join him. Hello, Mr. Ayo, can you hear me?
Thank you so much. What you were talking about voter apathy is a serious challenge that we have.
Yes.
When we go out to campaign, people will tell us that if we vote for you, they will still steal the result. We encourage our people to come out and vote first and leave the management of the result to us. We make it absolutely impossible for them to steal our votes.
Yeah.
We know there are regional headquarters. The APC regional headquarters in the south is in Owerri. We want them, and we know all what their plans are now. We are a step ahead of them. We are working ahead of them, and we will protect our votes. We will protect our votes. We will ensure that nobody will be able to compromise votes on election day. All that will be required, all that will be needed to ensure that the electoral desires of the people are protected will be done to the very best of our ability. Therefore, I'm asking the people of Ondo State, if they are watching this program, or whoever can reach out to anybody here, to please encourage everybody here to go and vote. We cannot continue with the planlessness, with the life attitude to governance that APC continues to demonstrate here. Life is tough. They have actually brought hell to come and meet us here on earth. They are not waiting for us to die to go to hell again.
Well, Mr. Ayo, considering the fact that you had mentioned that people perhaps anticipate the outcome of an election before the election holds, and they sometimes think that their votes might not count, it's a good thing that you have reassured them that you and your people will be on ground to ensure that they exercise their franchise and belongs to them. The mandate that is theirs will be delivered to them. But let's talk about security again. Do you think it's perhaps one of the reasons why people show immense apathy when it comes to elections, especially state government or governorship elections in states where it appears as if there are always talks on ground ready to pounce on people who are not voting for the preferred candidate who is trying to rig his way into power?
Well, I must say that targeted activities in my state has not been rife for years gone by now. Until now, that they are saying that they want to use the template which Aiyedatiwa used to win his party ticket, which was the use of talks for this election. Yes, apathy on that score is rife, but our people are primed up now. They are going to go out. People are going to go out to vote in spite of that, because they do not want to continue with a party whose governments do not have useful plans for the state and the nation. So even if we have apathy, it will not be serious enough to prevent us from having a decent outing in this election.
Well, Mr. Ayo, we must thank you for your time on the program this morning. We wish you the best going into Saturday's polls. We hope to get feedback on how it goes or pans out come Saturday.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the time I spent with you this morning.
All the best then. Now, ahead of Saturday's elections, let's also let you know about some of the numbers of concern. In 18 local government areas in Ondo State, 17 political parties grate the face of the ballot. In 203 wards, there are also the case of 1.7 million accredited voters by INEC. But the challenge with over 295,000 uncollected PVC. The IG of police has said 15,500 police personnel have been deployed. He has also ordered the non-involvement of unregistered security outfits, much like the Amotekun, to stay away from the election. Now, whilst the people of Ondo State have been encouraged to come out and vote, that their votes will count, it is also a place of the citizens to be on the lookout for suspicious movements and let the authorities know where they have concerns. Now, we have other issues in the news to discuss, and at a time when the cost of living in Nigeria is on a high, the stress associated with fending for oneself has been put into concern this morning. Joining us on the show after the break is a wellness coach who would look at toxic stress and the pace of meditation to rid oneself of toxic stress. My first question is, what is toxic stress? If you're looking to find out, please do well to stay with us. We'll be discussing that shortly when we return after this break.
Welcome to the Niger Delta, a region of incredible beauty and stark contrast. From its breathtaking landscapes to its rich cultural heritage, this is a place where history and modernity collide. But beneath this serene surface lies a story of struggle and resilience. The Niger Delta is the lifeblood of Nigeria's economy, home to vast oil reserves that fuel the nation, yet it is a land where the people fight for their share of the wealth. Join us on the program Niger Delta Today as we explore the heart of the Niger Delta, discover the vibrant cultures, the struggles for environmental justice, and the stories of the people who call this place home. This is the Niger Delta, a land of contrast, a story of resilience, a journey of hope. Don't miss our exclusive series, Niger Delta Today, every day at 12 noon, only on ADBN TV. Witness the untold stories, experience the journey, be part of the change.
No matter wetin I see, enough fit make mouth heavy to talk am. That's now why people dey talk.
You know wetin dey worry you, but you no go fit take help yourself.
In this kind of situation now, what if they really no talk to una? Wetin be the way forward?
They go bury our chairman on Thursday. We go remain here.
Make we talk good where we dey see good, and where we know say we no dey see good, make we also dey talk am.
No woman, no mother deserve to know the grave of his child.
The bank manager, the bank executive, they are the one the government should first face.
People They Talk, the show on Monday to Friday by 5 p.m. on top ADBN TV.
Welcome to the world where innovation meets opportunity, where ideas become empires. This is Market TV.
I am Idorian Flannan, and every week I'll be taking you inside the dynamic world of marketing and commercial business.
From groundbreaking startups to big businesses, Market TV brings you the best pricing and latest goods on display.
It's all about understanding your audience and staying ahead of the trends.
Witness the creative processes that drive the various brands.
Join us as we dive deep into the strategies that shape the commercial landscape. From streets to traditional advertising and social media, we cover it all.
Whether you're a seasoned professional or an aspiring entrepreneur, Market TV provides the insights you need to thrive.
This show gave us the tool to turn our vision into reality.
So, if you're ready to master the market, Tune in to Market TV every Saturday at 6 p.m.
Step into the heartbeat of the world where news meets real talk. From breakthroughs in diplomacy to humanitarian challenges and scientific milestones, Global Digest takes you beyond the headlines and straight to the heart of the matter. I am Amma Marcus. Be a part of the world unfolding stories at 3 p.m. on ADBN, channel 258 on DSTV, and Star Times, channel 140. Global Digest, your window to the world's current affairs, only on Advocate Broadcasting Network.
Now here's some exciting news. ADBN is everywhere you are. Stay connected with us across all our social media and streaming platforms for exclusive news updates, captivating stories, and more. Join the ADBN community today via our various platforms on Avo TV app, ADBN channel 121, Niger TV app, ADBN TV, Limex World TV app, ADBN TV. To get the latest news straight to your phone, join our WhatsApp channel. Just search for ADBN TV and hit the follow button. Turn on your notification to stay updated and never miss any part of the experience. Stay in the conversation with us across our social media handles on X at ADBN_TV, Instagram at ADBN_TV, Facebook, ADBN TV, YouTube, ADBN TV_NG, and keep visiting our website on www.adbntv.com. Watch us live anytime, anywhere. ADBN TV, a part of you.
Welcome back to a Monday edition of Morning Express. Usually with the Mondays come much talk about the political and economic situation of the country. But this Monday, just to let you know that we also have our viewers at heart, we'll also be talking about how to address toxic stress. Now, this at the time when the cost of living crisis is quite high and going into the ember months with the festivities, a lot of persons are working twice as hard to try and level up. Joining us on the program this morning is a wellness coach, Ojeme Okosun. Good morning to you and welcome to the program.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Well, good morning again. It's wonderful to have you in the studio. Just before you walked in, Bito had asked a very pertinent question. What is toxic stress?
So toxic stress in general, it's the damage that is caused by an overload of emotion that is imprinted on the level of the nervous system.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, can you simplify that?
So when you're going through something, when you have pains, when you are an overload of emotions yes. Can be happy emotions, sad emotions. A lot of people don't know that happy emotion can lead to stress. You know.
Well, I'm finding out for the first time.
Yeah. When you have an overload of happy or sad emotion, it can be imprinted. The damage can be imprinted on the level of your nervous system.
Yes.
And then that is stress on the level of your nervous system. Okay. Now, whether you're young, old, I mean, lately we have like our kids, you know, suffering from this stress. It's not just peculiar to adults. Like we will say, adulthood has come. Yes. It's not just peculiar to adults. So kids can also be exposed to this level of stress.
To toxic stress.
Yes, they can.
Well, in still talking about stress in general, that's also related to the current economic situation of the country. It's not news that day in, day out, Nigerians wake up each day and there is always news of something that has made the economy even more difficult, or the fact that they are Nigerians more difficult and unbearable. And Nigerians have been attributed to be resilient people. They can always survive in any condition. But are we really living, or are we merely existing? And how much of an impact does this have on Nigerians' mental health and stress levels?
I mean, in trying to give you an idea of what you're talking about, I would like to explain stress using the 3 states of consciousness.
All right.
So we have the waking state, which is what we are right now.
Yes.
You are aware, you are alert, you are self-aware, and you're having thoughts, okay? Now, on this level, this is where the stress is being acquired. because you interact with people, you have activities, you have muscular activities, and then you acquire the stresses. That is imprinted on your nervous system. Now, if you allow the body, it has the ability to eliminate the stresses if you give it the opportunity.
Yes.
Because naturally, I mean, the stress is a foreign material on the level of the nervous system. So if you give the nervous system the opportunity, it will kick it out. Now, the sleep state of consciousness, which is another state of consciousness, is a state where you are not aware of yourself, zero self-awareness, and zero thought. So you are sleeping, fully rested, you don't know what is happening in your environment, your metabolic rate is low, your muscular activity is relatively low, you know, you're just there. Okay, now in that state, the body functions in a different way. It just starts eliminating like the fatigue of the day, the normal tiredness you have acquired during the day. It just sweeps it out. Okay, that is to tell you that the nervous system has that ability to kick out.
And then you wake up and say, oh, I had a very good night's rest.
Yes.
Okay.
And I could tell you categorically that a day that you had a very good sleep, like 8 hours of sleep, when you come into work, how is your reaction to your colleagues? You're mostly energetic,
Happier.
You're mostly happy, you're, you know, at peace with people.
Yeah.
I mean, even if somebody attacks you that morning, you know, take a back before you react.
Yeah.
You know, your reaction time to those kind of things will be minimal, very minimal. Now, another state of consciousness is the dreaming state of consciousness. Now, in the dreaming state of consciousness, there is no self-awareness, but you are having thoughts. So everything that plays out in your mind when you're dreaming,
You feel haunted in your dream. You have nightmares.
These
in your
are
dream.
thoughts.
Or you're trying to run away and you can't run away. And then
yes, these are thoughts.
Okay.
But then your body is functioning in a way that, you know, your muscular activity is also not there. So you're not able to act out some of this dream, even though you're jumping and all of that.
Yeah.
You can't jump from your bed.
It's just in your head.
It's just in your head. So your thought is playing out.
Yeah.
Now, in that state, some level of stresses are being eliminated. Okay, some level of stresses that you've acquired, but it's limited in a way. Now, there is another state of consciousness, okay, where you have zero awareness, right? And then, no, you're fully aware of yourself, rather. You're fully aware of yourself, and then there is no thought. That state is called the transcendental state of consciousness.
Somewhat like a meditation.
Yes.
Or a trance.
Yes.
Oh, that's
Right.
wait, that's trance. That's
That
trance.
is a state
Okay.
of consciousness. You are there, you are seated for 20 minutes with your eyes closed.
Yes.
Okay. Now you are fully aware of yourself. You are experiencing yourself, but then you have zero thoughts. Now what happened in that state of consciousness is this. You are restful, and then at the same time you are alert. Okay. Now, in that state, your body gains a unique state of rest, a unique state of deep rest. That rest you get in that state is deeper than the rest you get when you close your eyes to sleep. Okay, and then I'm saying this, everything I'm going to say, every point I'm going to say is backed by science. Okay, there are researches that have gone into it. Transcendental meditation is one of the most researched meditation technique in the world as it is right now.
How does this compare to yoga? Because I've seen a similar statement made by persons who practice yoga, saying they also experience something similar to what you're looking to explain.
Yes, they are similar. Yoga is having that union with yourself. Okay, so you are fully aware of yourself. Okay, now in that state, you gain that unique state of deep rest, and then all your stresses, deep-rooted stresses, traumatic stresses, they start finding their way out. You are giving the body that opportunity to eliminate all the stresses from your nervous system. Now, when these stresses start finding its way out, then you start having the benefit of transcendental meditation. Okay, you start experiencing it in the area of your mind development. So when you are in that state, there is a high EEG coherence. So different parts of your brain functions in a more holistic way. There's this coherence between the different parts of the brain. Okay, when that is happening, we know that by science that, you know, a high coherence of the brain is associated with high productivity level, high creativity level. Your reaction time is associated with a lot of good stuff. Okay, and then another area you can enjoy the benefits is in the area of your health. Now, normally, you know, when we are stressed, our body secretes, you know, a hormone called cortisol, right? And then when our mind is aware that, oh, there's cortisol in my system, your body will secrete even more cortisol to combat the cortisol. So what happens is you end up becoming more and more and more and more anxious. And then this
anxiety sets in.
Yes, and this we know, is associated with a lot of ill health like blood pressure and all of that. But then the deep rest you get during transcendental meditation calms you down. Okay, it calms you down, it gives you that relaxation, and then the stresses starts finding their way out. You are giving the body the opportunity to just heal itself. Now, another area you can enjoy the benefit is in the area of good social behavior. Now, when you are calm, you are at peace with yourself, you are self-aware. I mean, when you interact with people based on that level, with much understanding, with much love, with much appreciation of them. And if I give you love, you would only but give me back, no matter how mean you are. You will give me love.
You mentioned that in the transcendental meditation state, you are aware of yourself. You know that you are alive. You know your environment, but you don't have any thoughts.
Yes.
How can somebody be without thoughts at any given time?
Yes.
It appears as if the only time you can be without thoughts is when you are asleep, and even when you are asleep, you are dreaming. So there has to be some thought. Please, I believe just as much as the viewers out there, I'm confused. Can you make it any more simpler than you have stated?
It's very, very possible.
Okay.
It's very possible for you to be self-aware and you don't have thoughts. And like I said, that state is another state of consciousness. It exists. It has been discovered by science.
Do you train to do that, or how do you achieve it? In keeping your mind more or less without thoughts. Do you train for it, or is there a guide on to how to do that?
Of course, there is. You talk to a certified teacher of transcendental meditation. I mean, he will just direct you on how to go. But that silent part that you experience when you're self-aware is inherent every individual, small, old, educated, uneducated. Everybody has that silent field in the person. Okay, I mean, it's what science has discovered, physicists has discovered to be the unified field. Okay, everybody has it. Everybody has the ability to.
Or is it? Yes.
But we have lost. Because we are not taught that way. Because we've not been trained yet. We don't know it yet. So that is the place of a certified teacher to point you in that direction, and then you experience it.
Or is it what most men call the nothing box, where a man can just sit and probably staring into a body of water or just staring into a beautiful garden, and there's absolutely nothing in his head. Is that the same thing?
I don't know what that is. That was why I giggled.
Well, Bito, I believe Bito knows what a nothing box is.
A lot of times, a lot of people look at you or are caught staring at you, and then when you talk to them, you discover that they are not actually even looking at you. They're just staring into oblivion.
Okay. With transcendental meditation, being in that state, you have to shut out all your senses.
So you probably close your eyes.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So your senses has to be shut out. It's just you observing yourself.
It has to also be done probably in a quiet environment. No music, no distractions.
Yes, no music, no distractions.
Well, what would you say about some certain types of sounds or music? Not necessarily music with the drums and piano or anything, but just sound frequency that people use for meditations. Are there sound frequencies that can be used for transcendental meditation?
No, please.
And what do you subscribe to the usage of such particular sound frequencies for meditation?
I can only say what I practice.
Okay.
I can't say for someone else. Okay, what I practice is basically simple. Okay, transcendental meditation, you just sit twice a day with your eyes closed. That is morning and evening. Comfortably, you sit comfortably with your eyes closed and just experience yourself.
For a period of 20 minutes.
For 20 minutes.
So now I'm trying to put this vis-a-vis what a lot of persons experience in a day-to-day setting, twice a day. For a typical person who has to make ends meet, most people are out of their houses before it is 6 a.m. Some do not come back till it's 10 p.m.
10 p.m.
having to battle with traffic and all this. Is there something that can be done on the weekends, or if people have the luxury of time, should it be twice a week or each day?
This is what I will say to my students when they bring out this point. What do you want to achieve? Do you want to, just like shooting a bow and arrow, you stretch the bow back with the arrow in it, right? And then when you're sure you can hit the target, you release, so it hits the target. is just basically simple. Would you want to take out 20 minutes and then start your day and enjoy a more fruitful and more impactful day? Or you will launch into your day and then you just struggle around at the end of the day, probably achieving nothing. Which would you prefer?
To draw back.
Very good. So draw back 20 minutes. 20 minutes is so short a time to gather all the momentum you need to launch into your activity. I mean, but we have tested it. It's trusted that 20 minutes twice a day would significantly impact on your life if you just practice it with your eyes closed, sitting down, and then, you know, but of course you have to talk to a certified teacher who will guide you on how to go about these things, and you just enjoy a more productive day.
Well, let's talk about the awareness of what you do as, you know, a wellness coach, the transcendental meditations and all. It's not something very common, especially with Nigerians. When people think of meditation, or when people hear of meditation, they think it's just something where you close your eyes, you keep your hands like a Buddhist monk, and you know, how do you enlighten people to understand that, hey, meditation can be an everyday or a part of your everyday life? It doesn't have to be a special ceremony. It doesn't have to be in an organized setting with other people. You don't have to go to another place. You can meditate in your room all by yourself and heal yourself of toxic stress.
I mean, you've just said it perfectly. You just said it perfectly.
Well, let's hear from the master now.
Yeah. So basically, I mean, when you go through with enjoying this period, you know, sitting, it's not a religion, because we have this misconception here in this part of the world that, oh, anything that is not my religion is something that I don't understand and I don't want to associate myself with it. Now, transcendental meditation is not a religion, it's not a philosophy. In fact, if you are 100% skeptical about the practice, you will still get the desired result, because it's just like solving a mathematical equation. When you use formulas, you arrive to a range of answers, right? And your answers cannot go above or below. It will definitely arrive at that.
Yes.
So that is how it is. So we don't need you to have faith. We just need you to learn. We don't need you to feel like, oh, it's a religion, because it is not. I mean, we have pastors, we have reverend fathers, we have Muslims who practice transcendental meditation. We have traditionalists who practice transcendental meditation. It's for me, I feel like it cuts across all religion. And then when you start practicing transcendental meditation, whatever your concept of God is, you would appreciate it even more. Whatever it is. If you feel like stone is your God, if you feel Jesus is your God, if you feel... I'm a Christian, right?
I was going to ask what is your concept of God?
I am a Christian.
Okay.
Very, you know, dedicated Christian.
Yeah.
Now, my relationship with God has increased significantly when I started meditation. I can tell you for a fact. I can tell you for a fact.
Well, let's still talk about the skepticism that people have, especially towards meditation, towards yoga. As common as yoga might seem or appear, there are people who are afraid of yoga, thinking when
there's some soul exchange.
Yes, there's some soul exchange somewhere. Is there a soul exchange somewhere?
There is no soul exchange anywhere. What I practice.
No, I'm asking questions based on what I know people would want to hear from you today. Is there or is there not a soul exchange in yoga or transcendental meditation that you practice and teach?
In transcendental meditation, there is no soul exchange. It is not a religion. There is no spirituality in this thing. It's pure science.
And the mind.
Pure science. Just you and your mind. And you'll be amazed how powerful your mind is. How you can just set an intention and achieve it. And of course, I mean, what we believe as Christians that we say, oh, have faith and all of that, it all starts with your mind. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you just bank on that natural tendencies of your mind, and then you watch how amazing things will just turn out. Your perception about life, your approach to life, your approach to situations, everything about you will just change. And there is no rules and regulation as to don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that. Spontaneously, you start making right decisions because there is high coherence. There's high coherence in different parts of your brains. Okay, so spontaneously you start performing right actions. Spontaneously you start doing things. Your productivity level will just increase.
Are there specific types of foods that you have to avoid or you have to take? Well, no.
I understand where Chijoke is coming from.
I'm very interested in this because after this show I might partake in the transcendental meditation.
Because when you talk about wellness, and much like some of our viewers will agree, it's lifestyle choices. Because talking about stress in general, from whether you wake up at a certain time of the day or go to bed at a certain time of the day, each activities we may do, either consciously or unconsciously, build up to what our stress levels are. So when he's asking the question, does it also start from what you consume? Because how do individuals know that the stress I'm experiencing each day has reached the said toxic stress level? And in practicing transcendental meditation, is there also a way to gauge how well my body is relieved of this stress beyond the high productivity level like you just said?
Of course, there is.
Okay.
And let me address him.
All right.
You don't have to stick to a particular diet or a particular thing.
I don't have to be a vegetarian.
You don't have to be a vegetarian.
I'm safe.
I eat flesh.
All right.
Okay, so, I mean, you don't have to be a vegetarian. And to yours, please point your questions again. I think I lost that.
So basically, my question is from when you manage stress, are there levels that you now know that, oh, I have reached a toxic stress level? Is it with body fatigue? Are they headaches? Are they symptoms to look out for in going about your day-to-day for individuals to now know this is my stress level or I'm at the risk of toxic stress?
Of course. Like you pointed, the doctors will tell you, you start having headaches, you start reacting to things you ordinarily would not react to. Your reaction will be like very, very negative.
We see it in traffic, people screaming at each other, people
stuff
getting
like
into
that.
fights.
You would know that at that level, your stress level is really high. But then don't wait until it gets, that high, okay? Because normally with us being in this, state of consciousness where we are aware of ourselves and then we are having a lot of thought and all of that, we acquire stress, okay? I mean, I might not like the way your light is beaming. It will imprint in my nervous system at some level of stress. So you don't have to wait until it gets to that toxic level before you start looking for solutions for it. So once you know that it's interacting with people, you acquire some level of stress. I mean, a good sleep is fine. It's very good. 8 hours of sleep, 7 hours of sleep, whichever one you can give your body. But then transcendental meditation too is another kind of state of consciousness that can, give you a deeper rest, a unique state of rest, and then it just keep eliminating the stresses. And it can be done, immediately and cumulatively. So immediately in the sense that the regular stresses you acquire, I mean, once you sit in your first sitting, you will experience stress release. And then for the deep-rooted ones that has been tangled in your nervous system, those ones that have been there like for long, some that you don't even remember. Okay. When you sit cumulatively, they start getting softened up, and then they look for a way to come out.
So I was going to ask, talking about transcendental meditation, does it help in any way in resolving the issue of anxiety disorders, depression, or panic attacks?
Definitely yes.
Okay.
In fact, in the US, they use it for their veterans who have severe, PTSD is the chronic, is the acute stress level, right? They use it for their veterans, but of course you have to sign up for it. They use it for their veterans to help them combat PTSD. Now it is for the US government to, want to try and introduce to certify it, to validate transcendental meditation. That there must have been a lot of researches. Like I pointed earlier, transcendental meditation is the most researched meditation technique in the world as it stands today. Okay, and then see, it's so simple. It's so simple.
Please walk us through the process. I believe Bito is also interested in the meditation process.
Very, very shortly before we get into that, and just to also more like certify your practice, would like to find out how long have you been into the practice of transcendental meditation?
I started transcendental meditation in 2019. And then I became a certified teacher of transcendental meditation last year. And as it stands in Nigeria today, we are just 2 teachers.
In the whole country?
Yes, please.
Well, we are honored to have you here.
And we would grow.
Now to Chijoke's practical free lecture for those watching. I know it's more like 20 minutes, might be a lot of time on the show, but from the angle he's coming from is something I can relate to. There are certain cultural barriers to certain type of stress reliefs that we don't practice in Nigeria. It's not so common to talk to a counselor. It's also not so common to talk to a shrink or go through therapy. And from his angle of question is basically that preparation for which individuals who want to practice transcendental meditation, are there steps to be taken to achieve this state of being? Because a lot of persons have a lot on their mind, I must tell you. People are thinking about the rent. People are thinking about how to buy fuel. People are thinking about how to put food on the table.
Electricity tariff is another issue.
So when you tell a Nigerian to sit for 20 minutes and
do nothing,
their mind, it seems like a tough ask. So can you walk us through this preparation on how to clear your mind to sit for 20 minutes and meditate?
Okay. Now, starting from the part where you talk about our cultural differences here in this part of the world, where we don't really subscribe to going to talk to a therapist, a psychiatrist, and all of that, I would say that transcendental meditation is a much more easier way to do it. So you don't have to go and start paying for therapists and all of that, you know, because what you do is you just meet a teacher once, and in learning it, there are 7 steps. Okay, in learning transcendental meditation, there are 7 steps. The first step being an intro lecture, where we tell you what transcendental meditation is, what it is not, areas of benefit of transcendental meditation. And if you want to proceed, you come in for prep, where we tell you where the knowledge is coming from and the requirements to learn the knowledge. Okay, and then we go into an interview where we get to know you, and then you sign off on some legalities. Okay, and then the 4th state is where you're being instructed with the knowledge. Okay, and immediately you're instructed, you enjoy that unique state of
so we can't have that instruction here live on air.
No, you can't.
I will have. I think I need to sign up for this much later after the show, Peter, because I for one, I've had my own fair share of toxic stress. I've had my own fair share of having to deal with some some sort of anxiety and all. You know, and one thing that has helped me is maybe not necessarily meditation, but sleep. When I get lots of sleep, it's like the stress just washes away. But I want something that is, you know, more sustainable. Not just sleep is an everyday thing, yeah. But it appears that the transcendental meditation, with all you have said, is a technique that can not only take away that stress, but also introduce me to newer and better ways of living. And I believe, Bito, you share the same thoughts.
It is indeed one of those most common thought practices, especially when you're listing out these 7 steps of prep. It's also from the point of people who have to probably take medication to sleep. You know, the categories of persons.
Insomnia.
Yes, people live with certain ailments like diabetes, high blood pressure, that they're on medication daily. So if you have something that is not medication, that's probably not also as expensive as that is bringing some sort of relief, especially mentally, I think a lot of persons, much like Chijoke, would be willing to try it out.
Yeah, sure.
So you could go on with we're at step 2 or 3 now?
No, so the 5th step.
Oh, okay. Wow.
The 5th step, it's a first day of check-in, 2nd day of check-in, and 3rd day of check-in. So the 5th, 6th, and 7th step. Okay. Now you come in with your experiences after you've learned it, after you've been instructed. You go home, practice, and come back with your experiences. We give you intellectual understanding of your experiences. You go again, come back with your experiences. We give you intellectual understanding, and then the final day, you go, come back, we give you intellectual understanding of your experiences. And then there is a 10th day, you have to come in, just for us to check your experiences and just give you some knowledge.
A 10th day?
Yes, please.
So you consistently do it for 10 straight days?
No, please.
3 days first?
Yes, so all these steps can happen in 3 consecutive days.
Okay.
Right? And then you come on the 10th day.
After the first?
After the first...
the first 3 days?
Yes, 4 consecutive days. After the first 4 consecutive days, you come in on a 10th day.
On the 10th day, yeah.
Yeah. And you're good to go. It's with you for life. do with it as you please.
You've now become a certified transcendental meditator.
Yes, you've become a meditator.
Beautiful.
And you can use the knowledge for life.
Now let's talk about the place of this in society, because one thing I picked up from when you started your conversation was a happier individual who interacts better with people in society. Now, it had become a trend post-pandemic. A lot of Nigerians, quite sadly so, captured on bridges trying to jump off. A lot of people feeling like life has become too overwhelming for them to go through each day and be better individuals. Society on its own adds to such pressure, not even stress. People feeling like they have to level up. The underemployment statistics, and even this morning on one of the dailies, it was talking about how experts are underscoring employees' mental health and the rising workplace depression. These issues, beyond stress, put Nigerians at somewhat of a risk of sinking into depression. Does this practice somewhat reduce the tendencies of more Nigerians to be, in quotes, depressed?
Yes, yes, yes. That's the answer to that. I mean, you know, we've seen like a lot of corporate organizations too, outside Nigeria, of course, who have, you know, spoken to their HR to get their workers signed up for, you know, as a corporate entity, to sign their workers up for transcendental meditation, because if you have a healthy worker, if you have a worker who is sound mentally, is sound physically, he is able to give you the productivity level that you desire for your business to grow. Right? So, I mean, same thing here. If we are able to, first of all, understand that when we invest in the mental health and physical health of our workers, they would give us the productivity that we desire, then isn't it worth the try?
Oh, it is. It is worth the try.
Well, it's an interesting point of the show, and I'm very sure those joining in are wondering on a Monday, away from our current affairs-driven conversations, we thought it wise to also invite a wellness coach, Jeme Okosun, who is with us in the studio, and she's been talking about transcendental meditation and addressing toxic stress. Now, it's quite a very simple practice. She subscribes that you do it twice a day, say in the morning and before you go to bed. 20 minutes of sitting and meditating without no thoughts in your head. She's also talked about 3 main states of consciousness and a 4th one, which happens to be transcendental meditation. This conversation will be available for you to rewatch it on our YouTube channel. And if you have any questions for those watching live now, feel free to drop them in the comments. Now, coming back to this conversation, you'd have a lot of persons who probably have gone through this practice. And as we are, as a country with a population of over 200 million persons, my concern now is that there are just 2 of you in the country currently. Is this conversation not getting the much needed awareness it deserves? And if no, how well do you think that this message can better reach more persons in Nigeria?
I think with what we are doing right now, I think it will reach a couple of people, maybe more than I even imagine. Because all we need right now is for this information to just get out there, to create the awareness, for us to be visible enough for people to subscribe to it. And then you would just be amazed how significant a simple thing like transcendental meditation could turn your life holistically around. Okay, so whatever your reasons are for, you know, subscribing to transcendental meditation, it can just be as simple as mine. Mine was just sleep. And then I experienced a 360-degree change of every aspect of my life, because at that point you would be able to understand God clearly. At that point you'll be able to understand yourself first. Okay, you'll be able to understand yourself first, and every other thing around you, it will be simple. I listened to one talk about, one man was trying to, you know, explain, talk about how drug use, drug abuse has become very rampant in the Nigerian society. He was delivering a talk, and then he said, yes, a lot of people are going through a lot, given that the stress level is high, whether we acquired it ourselves or we, due to peer pressure and all of that, we have, acquired it ourselves, or the society itself, it is been wired to give us that stress. Whatever the reasons are, you acquire stress on a daily. And now people are looking for escape routes, right? And then they go to drug, use of drug, indulging, drug abuse, alcoholism, and all of that. Yeah. Now, he said, and I quote, that is also a solution. Yes, it is a solution.
But not a good one.
Is that solution a good one? And is that solution sustainable? Because at the end of the day, when the influences leaves you, your problem comes back.
Yeah. You're faced with the reality.
Yeah, once you sober up, you are fixed with that reality that you're trying to.
And when you don't want to face the reality, you drink again almost immediately. That leads to alcoholism.
Yes, and then but if you are exposed to transcendental meditation, as simple as it is a very simple, natural, effortless, practice. Okay, as simple as it is, if you are able to just go through with it, you just start having that communication with yourself. You start understanding yourself better, and it puts you in a position where you value yourself better, and there are certain decisions you cannot take because it will be against you. You experience the you in you.
Now, is there a reason why there are only 2 certified teachers of transcendental meditation in Nigeria? Is this because of its unpopularity in the country, or is this because of its rarity in terms of how important it is? So not everybody has access to it. Is this some sort of
westernized practice? Because in the US, like you said, there's much practice, and much like he's asking here, I talked about cultural barriers, but now from his perspective of asking this question, the unpopularity, is it because it's a Western idea?
I would not say that. I would say that maybe we have not, I just became a teacher like last year, okay? And I'm the second teacher.
And the other one became a teacher when? Or has been a teacher since when?
For a while, but she's not fully based here in Nigeria.
So did you train here to become a teacher or outside of Nigeria?
I trained outside of Nigeria.
Okay.
I trained outside of Nigeria. But now I'm here.
But like
and I'm back.
But like every education we've had, more like educations that come from other parts of the country. We had our culture growing up, but education was always borrowed. And whereas it works and becomes a thing, it now gains popularity. People now practice to be doctors. People practice to be engineers. People fly outside Nigeria to gain acquired knowledge. Do you think that this would become some sort of, let me even start at the basic level for children, like you said, PE, physical education in school, where during PE games, some certain children, especially those who have anxiety disorders or whatever the case is, are also taught how to go through transcendental meditation?
Yes, I look forward to the time and parcel of our schools here in Nigeria. I mean, it's part of the bigger pictures where students are exposed to transcendental meditation before they get into class and receive the knowledge for the day, or they get instructed by their teachers, or they go through their educational routine. I mean, because it is so much, like, it will be more impactful when they have, reasoned their coherence of their brain to that high alpha level, and they are able to assimilate even more of whatever it is they are being taught in class. You can agree with me that our educational system is not so dear yet. I mean, I know that if we introduce this, it will position us in a very good space educationally. I am very sure of that, and I'm looking forward to it. And I'm looking forward to partnering with schools, as many schools, who are willing to, have us come around and do a project with their school and just instruct children.
I was going to come to the issue of collaborations with schools and all of that, but looking away from schools, you mentioned that in places like the US or other parts of the world, companies or organizations have adopted the usage of transcendental meditation for their staff collectively, to be able to help them deal with workplace stress. Is this in line with, are you doing anything in line with this, initiative to push for organizations within the country to start adopting this, not just schools now, but even government or private institutions within the nation to adopt this?
Yes, I mean, yes, we are looking forward to that. We are, still in the drawing boards, but then we are looking forward to it big time.
So you haven't made any move yet? You're just campaigning online and on air?
Yes, please. I just came.
Okay.
So I'm trying.
You just got here?
Yes, I just got here. So I'm trying to just gain balance and test the waters a bit, and just be here.
Well, let's hope that perhaps the Nigerian populace sort of adopts what you have brought back to the country. And just as much as I am interested in this, I believe a lot of people are certainly interested in understanding transcendental meditation, and it will help because Nigerians are stressed. I'm not even going. I don't have to say it for you to know that Nigerians are stressed.
I felt it when I landed.
Well, it might be one of those atmospheres, but in Nigeria, much like Chijoke has said, there's also that palpable stress in the air. You feel it while you're driving through traffic, either two drivers calling insults at each other or persons engaging in fist-cuffs in public, showing you their anxiety or showing you their frustration level at the state of being in the country. But transcendental meditation, much like Ojeme is advocating for, might have also been one of those viral videos. If we have more testimonials, I think the place of testimonials is another part we probably would want to explore, having persons who have experienced it give testimonials about it. Have you thought about that? Do you think it would be one of those places to explore?
Yes, please. It's one of those places we are exploring at the moment.
Well, why I'm asking is because I don't know if you've also seen a viral video of 4th grade students in China, much like you said, during classes. Those 4th grade students during classes had their teacher engage them in calisthenics for a said similar benefit. It says it was supposed to improve their cognitive awareness during studies in class. And a lot of schools are now adopting it from that viral video. It went viral on TikTok, first of all, just to be specific. And now we're looking at schools in Lagos adopting something similar. That's why I was asking that question.
Oh, okay. I've not seen the video you're talking about. I'm not too social media inclined. Yeah. But, I mean, it's something we are looking forward to. It's something we are really looking forward to, getting us out there, collaborating with schools, collaborating with a lot of private, whatever, you know, so that people will just have this opportunity to experience this amazing technique that will just help elevate their stress and then give them a holistic, you know, change in their lives.
Now, for some people who pass through other traumas, and this is coming from another issue that has become more prominent, people are opening up about it, being in toxic relationships. Because I can't help but notice the word toxic stress, and I'm feeling like replacing that
or toxic marriages.
Toxic marriages. Does this help in any way?
Of course. I mean, they are all, you know, they're all acute stresses. And if the most high on that list is PTSD, okay, is being addressed by transcendental meditation, of course, the smaller ones too can be addressed by transcendental meditation.
Let's talk about self-healing. A lot of wellness coaches, much like yourself, have ascribed to the fact that meditation or yoga or some sort of lifestyle could help in, you know, self-healing. You don't have to take pharmaceutical medication. You don't even have to take herbal medicine or anything like that. That your body is capable of healing itself of ailments. Is this true, firstly? And does transcendental meditation also aid in this, and how?
Okay. Yes, it is true.
Okay.
And then transcendental meditation does that by when you enjoy that deep state of rest, right? Like I said, it's deeper than the rest you get when you close your eyes to sleep. And we know this by science because it's been proven, okay? Now, we know also that the only thing that can eliminate stress is rest, deep rest.
Yeah.
And we also know that if you have stresses in your nervous system, diseases, illnesses, they can thrive. Stresses is like fertilizer that gives nourishment to diseases and all those negativity in your nervous system. Now, if you are able to deal with the root cause of your stress, if you are able to deal with that root cause, which is stress.
First, that means you have to first identify it.
It's stress. We know that it's stress.
What I mean is, what's stressing you?
Not necessarily what's stressing you,
okay.
But if you have that ability to be able to eliminate the stress as soon as they come. It's just like I cited an example with you having a good sleep at night.
Yeah.
You acquired fatigue during the day, right? But then you slept for 8 hours and then the fatigue is gone. So whatever it is, if by the way the society functions or if by the pressure you're putting on yourself, you acquire the stresses, you know, on a daily, you can eliminate them on a daily. 20 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes in the evening.
To wash it off.
You just wash it off and then keep your nervous system as clean as possible.
Yeah.
So if your nervous system, the more stress that leaves your nervous system, the more of that self-awareness, you are able to enjoy it for a longer time. And with that comes with benefits like, the ability of, healing yourself, but of course there's a place of diet too. Okay.
So that was why
diet, I'm not saying being a vegetarian.
that was why I asked earlier.
Our food is good enough. Our vegetable soup, our ogbono soup, whatever it is, there should be a balance.
Yes.
You need to, you need to make sure that you are enjoying the 6 classes of food.
When I was asking about about dieting, whether dieting has anything to do with the effectiveness of transcendental meditation, I wasn't just asking about being a vegetarian or not. I was asking about whether there are some certain foods that you're supposed to run away from. Are you supposed to take alcohol? Or are you not supposed to take alcohol? These are the questions. If I get back home and I want to relax, and the only thing that I know would get me relaxed apart from sleep is to probably get a bottle of red wine and sit and drink, and then I get relieved, can I drink my wine and then still go ahead and do the transcendental meditation?
I mean, if you must, why not? If your nervous system is craving for it.
I can't answer that because I don't know anything about transcendental meditation.
So if your nervous system is craving for anything, just feed it.
Okay.
But as much as possible, feed your nervous system with foods that are natural.
Wine is natural. It's grape. it's fermented grape.
If you are sure that you know how it is in Nigeria.
Well, I do.
But at the same time, I mean, feed your nervous system. That's on a lighter note. Yeah. But just feed your nervous system with natural food. Let your food that you consume be the medicine that your body needs.
Yes.
It shouldn't be all the pills and all of that. So if you have to eat rice, by all means, eat rice. Eat with some nice vegetable stew. Or some nice, you know what I mean?
Something healthy.
Something healthy.
Yeah.
And as much as possible, we know that anything that is man-made has some level of effects, right? Some negativity to it, okay? So just stick to the natural food stuff. Yes. Stick to the natural food, and then you're good. Eat it in proportions. Eat it, make sure your diet is balanced.
6 classes of food is also balanced within your diet.
Make sure your diet is balanced and you're good to go.
Now, in closing, a lot of people will be taking notes and looking to build up a daily routine following some of the conversations we have for a better lifestyle. It was not long before now that people began to say the body needs 8 hours of sleep. 8 became the figure to look out for. People began to say each day you need at least 8 glasses of water. Now, maybe 20 minutes now is becoming the conversation as it comes to transcendental meditation. Do you think in keeping, there's some of these numbers to look out for that people need to normalize in their everyday routine, day-to-day routine, much like 8 glasses of water when you wake up, 8 hours of sleep? Do you think we're now going to be having the conversations of 20 minutes of transcendental meditation as the basic for individuals?
Yes. I mean, why not?
Or can people go beyond? If people have the time, probably do 30 minutes or 1 hour.
20 minutes is just fine. It's just accurate. I mean, it's been tested and trusted, and then it's been narrowed to 20 minutes twice a day. And you get all the full benefits as you would if you do like an hour or so. You will still get the benefits.
So for person looking to reach out, is there more like an address for the office you hold, or is there more like a page online where people could reach out and ask for more information?
Yes, so you can reach me via, my full name is Ojemewala Okosun, right? So I'm on Facebook, Ojemewala Okosun. I'm on Instagram, Ojemewala Okosun. I'm on TikTok, Ojemewala Okosun. Okay, you can reach me via this handle. And then for now, we've not gotten like an office space, a physical office space yet.
Within the FCT?
Within the FCT, we don't have a physical office space yet, but it's something we are really working on to have like almost immediately.
Well, lastly, I have one more question concerning this, concerning transcendental meditation and how it relates to our everyday lives. I'm sure you've heard the term law of attraction. You're very much aware of it. In dealing with law of attraction, where the more you constantly think about something, the more you set your mind to something, it sort of happens, or you sort of attract wealth, or if you're thinking about bad things, you attract bad things. How much of an effect does transcendental meditation, or what are the similarities between transcendental meditation and the law of attraction?
I may not give you a direct answer to that because I don't know.
Okay.
But in Transcendental Meditation, we align ourselves with the natural law.
Yes.
Okay. Now, with natural law comes law of attraction and every other laws that there is.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, once you align yourself with the main law, which is the natural law, I mean, every other thing will just fall in place. So that's why when I mentioned, spontaneous right action, you spontaneously just make decisions, and they are the right decisions.
Decisions that align with what you want for your life.
It might not be very convenient for you as a person, but then it will align with the natural law, and then it's pushing you towards a good place. Okay?
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Well, we must thank you once again, Ojeme, for taking our time to share this with us on the program. We appreciate you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Glad to be here.
Well, this is as much as time will permit for us to talk about transcendental meditation and its place in addressing toxic stress. It is now also noted as a higher level of awareness and one that aids in self-development. Well, if you're looking to try it out, why not find Ojeme on social media, and she'll probably walk you through some of the steps. Well, at this point, we'll take a break, and when we return, it will be time for our concluding segment on the program, ADBN Sports at 10. Please stay with us.
Now here's some exciting news. ADBN is everywhere you are. Stay connected with us across all our social media and streaming platforms for exclusive news updates, captivating stories, and more. Join the ADBN community